welcome to another edition of Banter and Babble. I am the Dude79, and joining me always, my esteemed colleague, Mr. Fanboytone. Mr. Fanboytone, who is this good-looking fellow?
That might be the one only Josh from Half-Ass Beer Review, who is also fourth wall breaking because he's actually standing behind himself.
Yeah,
right
this
now.
is so weird. We have the multiverse going on because, like, here he is, but then there he is back there. How are you back at the bar and standing right here?
It's creepy.
I'm so confused.
Gotta wait to see the new Spider-Man movie.
There you go.
We are back with another episode of Banter Babble. We have ourselves a special guest. We are excited. We have a lot of great stuff to talk about tonight. But, Tone?
Yeah.
What's going on with you, man? How's your week going?
Really long and stressful, learning some new things at work. It's just been a little bit tight around the collar, but that's perfectly fine. We're halfway through the week and we are here, so it's all irrelevant. That's really about it right now.
I like it. He's starting to leave his work at work. He's not bringing it up here anymore, and it makes the show
Shut
better
up.
when he's not a
Never, I
whiny-ass
don't-
bitch about it.
I don't talk about it too often anyways. But no, that's really about it. Everything's pretty much other than that gravy.
Awesome. Good to hear. Josh, before we get into the proper intro, because we're going to want to know who the fuck you are, because you're the man, the myth, and I don't know if everyone knows. I mean, our chat knows, because you're here every week, and we love you for it. But what have you been up to? Let's go with you.
Shit, man. Just working, man. I work a lot. We ramp up towards Christmas time, so
I was going to say, this is like your last free, like, couple of weeks,
I
like,
have,
right?
2 weeks left before it's just avalanche of brown packages.
Oh,
But,
jeez.
dude, yeah, working and drinking beer.
Well, I mean, that's all you can really do. But, Josh, obviously, you are the owner, the creator of Half-Ass Beer Review. You can check him out now on YouTube, Half-Ass Beer Review. There he is. Look at that look, the focus on the beer. That look right there. I mean, that's a guy who's focused on the beer.
I don't know, man. I think he's like stretched out on the couch looking at his wiener.
I was going to say,
whatever.
that's how I look when I'm watching porn, where I'm just like
Like,
really
he's
dialed in.
trying to flip like the bottle caps in his mouth, like or something. Like,
Yeah,
flip.
it's pretty hot. Also, that is not what we're drinking tonight. I don't think I got any of the links in there. I didn't do any of that stuff.
Just because there's
cool.
so many, we said probably not a good idea to.
We got,
Oh,
like,
wow.
5
So
different
you can
beers
turn
we're
that
drinking
off.
tonight.
Oh, okay.
Probably-
Shit, that's
that's
right. Well, we'll just leave it on to confuse the people who are wondering what we're drinking. But yes, the Half-Ass Beer Review, you can check them out on YouTube, but you're also on just about every other social media outlet. That's where you can find your stuff, Half-Ass Beer Review. But Josh, tell us about Half-Ass Beer Review, how it came to be. What is your inspiration? What was your motivation to doing Half-Ass Beer Review?
I mean, I always liked drinking beer. I mean, I love drinking beer. I used to work at a beer store,
Ooh.
and I always like got my kicks on telling people like what to try. When
Mhm.
people would come in and say, "Hey, what about this or what about this?" and I'd be like, "Oh, well, try this instead."
Where you like, try Bud Ice.
Yes, Miller Lite. Actually, King Cuddles, I had this whole thing set up to where I was gonna say I'm bringing all these beers and just bring Miller Lite for you to
Fucking-
watch Tone try.
I would have
Ugh.
flipped out.
Yeah. But no, I've always just enjoyed craft beer. I like the creativity behind it. You get unique flavors
Oh,
as
yeah.
well as like your can art can be just like outrageous and awesome sometimes.
Mhm.
And I've actually been talking about doing like videos for like 3 or 4 years, and then finally when the pandemic hit, like a lot of people,
A lot of people, yeah.
I was just like, oh, screw it, I'm gonna do it now. And
Right.
I did it. The first video, I deleted it. And the second video, I posted it, and I was just like nervous, and then it's just been.
You just gotta let it go. You just gotta just shoot from the hip, let it go, and see what happens.
Yeah, and it's great. It's
It-
great.
It's been awesome, man. Because like you, and just like everybody who starts streaming or doing videos, at first you're like you just put it out there, and you're like, okay, cool, I'm content with that. But then not only once you start seeing people start to tune in and pay attention to your show and appreciate what you're doing, he says turn him up. I will turn him up right now. There's a little bit more. Hopefully that'll make things a little bit better. But you know, when you start doing that, but then you start to get a taste for it, and then you become your worst critic, because then you start looking at everything: production value, lighting, camera, everything, and then you just start to evolve and improve. And I mean, like I said, man, you already had the personality for it. You always grab all these super exotic beers that I'd never even heard of. You're trying them out, but then you started improving like the quality of it, and then you could really tell that you were like embracing it. You're like, okay, I want to run with this. I really enjoy doing this. You got people watching, you got people commenting, and people are like, they trust your reviews. And there was a couple that you put out where I was like, I'm gonna go try it. And when we went over to Cork and Ale, I seen a couple. I was like, I'm gonna grab that one because he said it was good, and I was like, man, that shit is good.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's just the quality of the content, the quality of the person. You put on a great show, man. It's entertaining. And you're thorough. I love everything that you do. You have these nuances that you do with your videos. I think it's fucking awesome, man. I think it's really awesome. It's really good. Tone, what do you dig about it?
Honestly, I don't know if maybe you do remember this, and I think we have talked about it. When he posted his first video and talked about it on Facebook, I like freaked out over it. Like, I was like, this is fucking brilliant. Like, this is something that we need. Like, this is great. I'm so glad you're doing this. Like, this is awesome. So I was excited instantly that he was doing it because, again, it's somebody who has over the last few years come back around to craft beer and things like that. And it's the same thing as well, too. Now, I see the Bud Ice out there as well, too. And the only thing I can say out there is like...
Bud Ice used to be the shit,
It
bro.
was, and I got really, 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 really obnoxiously drunk off Bud Ice one time. And I swear all I could hear was doobie, doobie, doo. Like as I'm... Anyways, I digress. I could talk about Bud Ice all night, but no, the craft beer thing is amazing because yes, it's the creativity, it's the flavors,
yes,
it's the can art, but like it's one of those things where it really is an art form at some point, and when you start looking at it at the way that people put their energy into it and their thought process and the things they do with it, it gives you this higher level of appreciation for it too, and then you find out that your palate will continue to evolve all the time, whether you do or don't like things. So,
also I get to hang out with you guys and do beer quest side quests.
Yeah, we do enjoy.
That's something I didn't see coming. That it just happened, and I'm like, oh, this is probably one of my favorite things to do with it.
Yeah, the beer quest was a lot of fun, especially the one when we went down to Muskegon and we went to Pigeon Hill. But then we literally just kind of like stumbled across Dr. Ross. I mean, we knew it was there, but then we went down there and then we realized how simple it was to just bring food down from there to eat at Pigeon Hill. And that was like automatically like the highlight of my winter because I think it was in March when we did that. And it was like one of the first times we were able to get out of Saginaw during the pandemic and kind of get out to a restaurant. But we get to Pigeon Hill. They have all the fucking beers. They have my OCP. And then we go to Dr. Rolf's barbecue and just load up on just an absurd amount of food. And it was incredible. And that was just a lot of fun. And I'm really hoping that we can get into it more. I know we've been really busy lately. We got a lot of stuff going on. I know you guys went down to Horrocks again and checked that out. And you guys went out.
Did you say it right?
Horcruxes?
Thank you.
It's really not Horcruxes, but that's cute that you guys think so. But where else did you guys go? You guys went to Midland? Or where'd you guys go recently?
We hit Mountain Town up in Mount Pleasant when Drassen was up one time. We did a little beer quest side quest there. We did the East Market down in that's when we hit up movies.
What was the long drive? What was you guys did one?
The big one was that was going to 450 North. That was the big one out in the middle of fucking
450 North.
Indiana.
6-hour drive, but the most worth it one that we've done so far.
It was.
Yeah.
I would go there again in a heartbeat.
For as amazing as that destination was and everything it presented to us. Yeah, it was definitely worth a 12-hour round trip at least, maybe almost 13 with the poop breaks and piss breaks.
That is a monster trip. But you guys ate good. We saw the photos. You guys drank good.
Yeah.
I spent $300 on beer.
$300. How much of that beer is left? Oh my God.
2 cans laying around.
2 cans.
But we did get to experience when Drassen was up for the beer trade that massive like the
oh yeah, Shaggy sandwich. It was like this big oil can. It must have been like almost 40 ounces. Might have been 32 ounces
maybe,
or something, but it was like peanut butter. That chunk that fell in Draston's glass.
It was like a peanut butter, marshmallowy, orange juice, fruity something. It was really weird. But it was. I mean, that's it right there, though. That's the part of the experience is exploring different flavors and things like that. So
I tell you what was nuts is about because remember we picked up the growlers when we went down to Pigeon Hill, and I can't remember which one I got. It was Don't Stop Believing.
Don't Not Stop Believing.
And we got that in March, and I brought that back and I put it in the fridge, and it sat down here until June. Okay, maybe even July. And Melissa was like, hey, we should drink that. I was like, I don't know if that's going to be any good. Dude, open that shit up. It was like fresh. And I was like, whoa, I need to go back down there and get like 10 of these things and just store them in the fridge. Like, it was, I couldn't believe it. I was really expecting to be all flat and just dude, it was
If you haven't cracked
phenomenal.
it open, it'll last for a minute.
I had no idea that they would last that long. I was super excited. We polished that shit off too.
Yeah.
We went through that real quick.
That's become one of my more favorites of theirs, hands down, because it's so good and consistent.
It is really, really fucking good. Don't stop believing it's good, but it's always going to be OCP.
Also, the amount that you were sweating after eating that barbecue.
Are you talking about after when I was passed out in the
Oh
car?
my God.
The meat
Even
sleep?
I just looked up at you. I think we were still at the table, and I looked up. I'm like, what
Dude, why
the hell happened to you,
dude,
man?
I had the chicken things. I ate like a whole order of those. I ate like I had a sausage.
It looked like somebody punched you in the face.
Dude, I had the meat sweats, and you gotta keep in mind, like this. It's March. It's fucking cold. Like I would go outside and like come back in and still be just a sweaty mess. But there was so much food. Plus, I'm fat, so I mean, it's a bad combination. But it was definitely the meat sweats, and then I think I fell asleep in the car.
Oh, yeah.
You was out for like an hour at least, like an hour, and snoring some logs a little bit or whatever. And me and Josh were just talking away like nothing was going on, and you didn't catch on to anything.
Yeah, it was.
Funny. You're like, whoa, poopy trip, and we're like, what's going on?
Man, I just remember waking up and I was just like, what the fuck? The meat got to me, all the beer. Because we were drinking at a pretty good clip until we got the food. And I'm glad we got the food because I felt like at the rate we were going, it was gonna be trouble if we had kept going. But no, we definitely got to get another beer quest in. Hopefully this winter or maybe even later this fall, who knows. But it's always fun to just go to these like breweries and then, like I said, find the restaurant or place that's nearby.
Especially if it's barbecue,
fun.
I feel like it just
if it's
goes
barbecue,
with,
yes.
Like it's just one of those things that kind of works well with like craft beer. I feel
it absorbs everything. You drink a bunch of stuff, then you get all that.
It runs out. That's
Oh,
for sure.
It'll clear you right the fuck out for sure. Absolutely, a hot mess for sure. Did you wake up with a meat drawn on your face?
That was just residue, Tricky.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I should have never trusted these guys. Dungeon says, come down here. We got a small brewery that serves awesome barbecue. The only problem is you live in Ohio. So, no? No.
He's not a fan of that.
That's a big no. Miss Rose, thank you so much for that follow. We really appreciate you. But let's talk about what we got going. We're high class.
Hey, we are. I'm tired of these bozos not drinking in glasses, so I brought some glasses for them to drink out of.
We're high class tonight.
But we're going to do some leftover Halloween candy and beer pairing tonight.
Love it.
I just heard about this myself. I wasn't really aware of it. I knew you pair food and beer and wine and stuff like that, but...
Pairing candy?
Yeah. So I was like, well, we're going to do that.
Now, here's the thing.
Hello?
How do you determine what to pair? Or do you just randomly, like, I'll grab chocolate for this? Or is there a system in place?
You know, I'm sure a lot of it's like the first one we're doing is this chocolate stout with Reese's peanut butter cups. So I'm sure a lot of it has to do with just like similar flavors that are in it.
Sycamore Special Brownie Chocolate Stout.
Mm-hmm.
What pairs with the McRib, Zach? Everything, sir.
Everything
or
pairs
a nice
with a
tall
McRib.
MGD, maybe even.
Well, if it's McDonald's, it's a Coke. You got to get their Coke.
Yeah, they got.
I mean, that really goes well
Unless
with.
they have Verner's.
Oh God, I love Verner's.
I do love Verner's, but their Coke is really, really good. But tell us. So our first drink is the Sycamore Special Brownies Chocolate Stout, and we're pairing it with the tried and true
Reese's peanut butter cup.
Reese's peanut butter cup. Now, how does the pairing work? Do you just mash and chase it, or do you do you have to be sophisticated about it?
Because my name is Half-Ass Beer Review, I don't really know. So we're just going to take
we're
a
gonna
bite of
half-ass this
candy,
one.
and then we're going to drink some of the beer and see how that works.
Okay, all right.
So I got 5 different beers and 5 different candies.
He's got 5 different beers and 5 different candies.
Not that kind, Miz.
Coke for sure. No,
Cola,
that kind, Miz.
Cola.
No, Miz. I feel ya.
Jesus.
I like where Miz is head at. Okay.
So what are we doing? What's the
Big
plan?
drink, small drink?
Oh,
Or
yeah, little drink, big drink.
Little
You guys
drink, big
don't
drink.
know. Now you do.
Are we
bite?
drinking?
No, do you do bite, little drink, bite, big drink?
Oh, I don't.
Come
Let's
on.
just One bite. One bite.
You're starting this. This is a new trend.
We're learning as we go here.
I dig it.
I'll take a
All right.
bite. Hurry up.
Mm.
Taking a bite.
All right, big drink, little drink.
This is awkward.
Holy shit.
Little drink.
I can get into that.
That
That was real good.
Holy fuck.
That peanut butter goes really good.
It really
It
does.
is, yeah.
It really does.
Mmm.
That air.
Mm-mm.
That's really good.
I'm gonna spit it.
You all right, man?
No.
You spitter? I didn't know that. I took you for a swallower for sure.
Damn you guys.
Mm. It
Almost
almost
lost
takes
it.
the alcohol away.
Yeah, this is a 7.3%.
Yeah,
so
you
not,
can
you know.
Having the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup in there it really kind of softens the blow a little bit. But at the same time, it's fucking tasty.
Right.
It's tasty. Like
Yeah,
I
it
don't
looks like
mind
I
the
got a
alcohol.
wiping problem.
Use that thin toilet paper.
I know. I got it at the Dollar Tree. It was always left on the shelf.
Man, that is really good. You guys and girls, that was a Sycamore Special Brownies Chocolate Stout. 7.3% on the ABV.
Cherry has an update for us out there about the pairings.
Cherry says the easiest way to pair beer and food is to bring together flavors that complement one another. For example, you can pair light beers with food that has light or delicate flavors, such as fish or salad. Alternatively, pair heavy, rich beers like stout with rich, boldly flavored food.
Stout with like a heavy, rich chocolate, maybe?
Oh, man, that was really fucking good. The Sycamore Special
There you go.
Brownies. Now, up next, we have the Bells.
We're doing this right now?
What, you don't?
Oh my god.
You want we can split it up throughout.
No, we'll do one more. Then we'll get to our first topic.
Okay.
Talk about some movies. Come back. We're gonna get Tone drunk. He just doesn't know it yet.
God.
He's like, oh, it's Wednesday night. I can't drink. I gotta be responsible.
I just noticed, but you have really small hands.
I do.
Don't.
Believe me, it translates.
But it makes everything else look so much bigger.
Right.
Even it doesn't. That's the thing. Okay.
Well, for you, maybe.
Oh man, these won't melt in my hand, right?
I'm just
you're
Canadian,
just
by the
about.
way. Yes, I do appreciate earlier you trolling me, and yes, those faces were for you. So
7.3 is
Appreciate
child's
you.
play. Sure is. But this is the Bell's Porter Robust Porter, brewed and bottled by Bell's Brewing Company.
Robust. I'm gonna have a long day.
And this
tomorrow.
one is a 5.6. Oh, don't worry, Tone. This one's easier for you, little guy.
Larry Bell just actually, the owner just announced his
he
retirement.
sold, didn't he, or
And he's,
selling?
New Belgium and Bell's Brewing are combining. So,
Really?
yeah, he's had some health issues in the past. So
Oh.
he's,
That's not a terrible idea.
Right. No, I don't think so. I think
Yeah,
New
that's
Belgium's
actually-
pretty solid. So.
Yeah, are they? Is that Fat Tire?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yep,
one of the
and
best.
like the
ambers
Voodoo
around.
Ranger, all that stuff.
Yeah, that's actually good. That could be good for everybody.
Yeah, I think
It's crazy to think about that, though.
Right.
Oh, Canadian. We're
Have you ever
very
gotten
similar.
a small keg of the Bell's Amber? Some of the places around here will sometimes carry like small kegs of them because, like,
Ooh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
awesome to get
Yep.
one of those and just tap that and drink that on game day.
Yep.
And down there.
All right, let's get into the.
Oh yeah, I'm eating all the
by
candy
line
and I'm not
these
drinking.
M&Ms.
Oh wait. Mash the candy right.
Well,
Oh my god, it's so sticky.
right. So I'm eating M&Ms.
And there's that milk chocolate, Mars chocolate. Oh.
No, just drink the beer, dude.
Stop.
Is he gonna fucking make it tonight?
I think he's done.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Almost takes the bite away too.
Like the roastiness from this beer goes so well with like
With that
M&Ms.
chocolate.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nutty and chocolate.
Definitely
Man.
nutty.
This is really good too. Shit, man.
Mm-hmm. I come with the fire.
I was gonna say, man, he doesn't bring some weak ass
Well,
shit.
I mean, he's not the weak ass beer review. He's the half ass.
He's the half-ass beer review.
So a little bit of effort.
That is really good, man. I seriously would have never guessed to eat candy with beer.
I didn't think about
You
it.
know,
either,
it's
and I
always
heard
usually
about it,
brats
just feel
or
like it's so rich.
burgers or
Yeah.
peanuts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're eating. I can't wait to get into the Sour Patch Kids. I don't know what the fuck you're gonna pair that with. A sour?
The good thing is
Nope.
that they're
Nope.
sugar-free Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah.
Whole different stream.
Hey, Dungeons. I had a Vizzy
He's got
tonight,
a
bro.
Vizzy.
I got a
Don't you
Vizzy.
worry.
Don't worry, man.
Yeah,
I'm
you got a
keeping it
Vizzy.
real,
Yeah,
baby.
man. Come on.
I had a Vizzy tonight.
Yeah, come
Show him
on.
that other beer that we had
This
tonight
one is dope. Perrin Blackberry IPA. This shit was fucking good. Like, for real. If you get a chance, Perrin's Blackberry IPA is
I was gonna say,
hella
I think
good.
I got one for 7D one time. It is one of my favorite IPAs, and to say I have a favorite IPA is really weird.
too.
This-
It's Halloween tradition for me to pick up a 15-pack. Like when I'm handing out candy, I'm drinking this.
This is what
beer.
you're drinking?
Oh yeah,
Man.
it's nice. It's not your
Yo,
typical
yo.
IPA.
Yeah, this is hella good, man. I love this description. Combines the tart sweetness of ripened blackberries along with an aromatic spelling wasn't my strong suit. Or
Problematic.
Or that'd be phonics, right? I don't know. Floral bouquet of fresh hops.
Yeah, you should probably put
That's
that down.
obviously very sophisticated because I can't fucking read
It's
it.
not super like piney or earthy or in that like normal IPA sense.
Yeah,
like
gross.
those flower like the floral hops. It just
That was fucking
That's a
good.
different kind
Like
of
I'm
IPA,
seriously
and I
going to
love
go pick some up this weekend and load my fridge with this because this shit was really, really good. Perrin's Black Perry IPA, but this is tasty, man. I like this stout. Actually, pretty damn good.
So one thing, I know we got a topic coming up, but I know we want to kick on real quick what we've been playing, right? Is that the plan?
Yes, let's talk a little bit about what you've been playing.
Well, I did finally beat Metroid Dread.
The last person in the B&B community to beat it.
Not
Good
true.
job.
That'd be you piece of shit. But
I heard that last boss was really hard to beat.
that last boss was really hard. Hey, Tricky, what'd you think about that last
Can you
boss on
believe
Metroid
a
Dread?
boss is difficult?
Yeah, you guys can start your
That's
bits
weird.
already. Yeah,
I'm
go
not
ahead.
starting any bits, man.
Yeah,
Continue,
from
please.
The guy that didn't even beat it.
Continue.
I would say my two small critiques of that game is I felt like overall for a Metroid, it felt a little bit more linear. Like it kind of had you going in directions. It didn't really make you need you to explore
It
necessarily.
basically just guides you. It's like, you know where you're going
Kinda,
next.
yeah.
What it does is it's really bizarre how it does it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You can't go anywhere else.
Right.
Like if you're trying to find where you're supposed to go, everything else is closed off.
Yeah,
so you're forced to go one specific way. So it's a little bit. Yeah, I agree. It's a little bit more linear than what you would think.
That's not the end of the world because the game, listen, is very enjoyable. It's gorgeous for like a Switch game like that in that style. It's 2D. It's great. But yes, the other big critique I do have is that I feel like the bosses and the overall difficulty of the game spikes really weird. Like the enemies are a whole different thing, so I don't even really count that in there because it's just kind of a thing that they're doing. You're not meant to be able to block that consistently or anything like that. But the bosses definitely, like, you'll be going along, you might come across some mini bosses that are a little bit difficult for a minute or two. You get past that, then you'll get to like big main bosses, and it's like way different than anything else you've touched so far as well too. And there's so few and far between that it just feels like a different game by the time you get there. So Tricky, you said it'd take you a day or two to beat that end boss. I started it Sunday night. It took me, played for about a half hour. I was like, I'm gonna wait for a second. That end boss has 3 fucking phases for one. And then Monday night I was able to, after about another half hour, 45 minutes, finally kind of get the pattern down and beat it. But it was really rewarding when you did because it felt like I just defeated a fucking badass end game boss that really made you be patient. Because I was telling you, I was ready to rip off my fucking front door to my home. But so I beat that. That felt great. Under 13 hours. Good stuff. And then, man, the big game come out for me.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit because you got sidetracked.
I'll tell you what, bad news bears. If I don't limit myself.
Yeah, if we don't hear from Tone over the next month, we know why. But no, when you talk about the difficulty of it, I feel like the game, even with the Emmys and even some of the mid-tier bosses, it doesn't quite prepare you for the big boss battles. Yeah. Like it really doesn't. But at the same time, I do like the whole multiple phases and learning the patterns and stuff. But there's not a whole, even the Emmys, after a while, you just kind of figure out the easiest way to defeat them is you just find a long path between you and the Emmy, do what you need to do to like break its shield and all this stuff.
The fuck away.
And run away. But I like that part of it. I actually think the Emmys are the best part of that game in terms of like the excitement and the thrill of it because they are a very versatile adversary. Like they're really difficult to get by.
It gave that series and those kind of games a little bit of a newer element. I don't know.
Josh is just like, what the fuck is a Switch?
I have a Switch. I've been playing Mario Golf, man.
Mario Golf is a dope ass game.
Yeah.
And they've been updating that game pretty consistent with content. Like every time my kids fire up, like, Dad, new course, Dad, new golfers. I'm like, oh shit, okay.
Do they have the Buick Open on there? They don't give a shit.
The Buick Open is not on there, I'm afraid. Definitely not on there. But no, I'm hoping to get through it. I agree with a lot of stuff that you say. Like the boss battles, there is a bit of a spike, but at the same time, I love trying to figure out the patterns. I do rage. You rage, Tricky rages, and I think a lot of people have raged getting to the boss battles, but it's such a rewarding experience when you are able to pull it off.
You feel really awesome. And very honestly, like Metroid is my favorite Nintendo series and always has been. This is a great entry. We haven't had a really excited version of Metroid since probably, at least on a main home console outside of handhelds in a long time. And this is I still think that it's not worth the $60. I'll be very honest. I'm going to say that. I know I talked about that when it first came out.
That is a big talking point. That is a point of contention with a lot of people.
$40 would be a better
versus
fair
how much
price
you get from it.
Yep, but it's a great title to play because if you like Metroid, you'll enjoy the game. Play it.
It's one of the most enjoyable games I've played on the Switch.
Absolutely.
There's been a lot of games. I'm not a Breath of the Wild guy, and I know that's not a popular opinion, and it's whatever. But like I always thought Mario vs. Rabbids was one of the best games on that system. I love that game. But I've really enjoyed Metroid. I think it's just a well done game, and I think it evolves and moves the franchise forward in a meaningful way. Mm-hmm. The only thing that I'm fucking waiting for is a Metroid Prime trilogy remaster for the Switch. I've never played those games, and I know there's so much excitement behind them, especially for the new one. And my understanding is, last time I read, like Nintendo has it ready to go. They're just waiting for the right time to release it.
Yeah, well...
And I'm just like, fuck, we'll release that shit, bro.
I'll pay plenty for that. So.
You ever play Metroid Prime, Josh?
On GameCube?
No.
Okay.
See? He's not a Nintendo guy, man.
No. Okay, yeah, you're right.
That's okay. I hated Nintendo for a while as well. But, all right, so that's what we've been playing. We'll talk a little bit more about some games that have released recently, some big titles that Josh is going to have some thoughts on. Tone's going to have some thoughts on. I'm going to have some thoughts on. We'll get into that. But up first, if you haven't seen Eternals yet, this will be a mildly spoilery review. We won't get into too much stuff, but we are going to touch on some of the plot lines, the storylines, some of that stuff, and we are going to talk about that one end credit scene because I was in the theater and on the way home, I sent you a message, and I said, who do you think was the voice that talked to Kit Harington in that final end credit scene? And it was confirmed, and I am fucking hyped, and we'll talk about that. But our first topic is going to be Eternals. Tone, this is a movie that has not reviewed well. Both critically and with viewers, with audience members. It's not sitting at a great score. It is one of the lowest rated MCU movies in recent memory, if not the lowest. But Eternals, we went and saw it on opening night. Josh went and saw it this weekend. I'm going to turn it over to our special guest. Josh, your initial reaction and thoughts on Eternals.
I was actually really worried going into it. I think Tricky and I were on the same page. I wasn't sure. I thought it might be like the first flop, so to say.
Like
it was just
first
one of those,
big letdown.
Just had those feeling because I had no idea what any of these characters were or anything like that. But I thought I was sitting through it and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And then it hit a certain point of the movie, and I was like, oh, this movie's great. Like that. Then I really started to enjoy it.
What was the point? What was the point?
When Cersei was starting to when Cersei learned. Aramesh?
Yes.
When she learned what his plan was and what their actual purpose was, then it like sucked me in like fully. I was like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
It was just at that moment I was like, okay, this is great. And I don't know, it had funny moments that I really enjoyed. The fight scenes I really liked. Angelina Jolie, she can still get it. I enjoyed it.
No, and you talk about that particular scene when you figure out what Aramesh's plan, his real plan was. I felt like that scene was a lot to take in. Like it was really heavy compared to everything that we had seen up to that point. I would have liked a little bit more time with that to explain things a little bit more slowly because I feel like it came at us fast, and it didn't help that that was one of the critiques, and Crash talked about that when we did our spoiler-free reaction to it. Is Aramesh didn't speak very clearly, especially in the theater. Like it was kind of like muddled a little bit. So I would have liked them to clear that up a little bit and maybe kind of take a little bit more time to explain it. But yeah, I felt like at that point it changed the dynamic of the film. It changed everyone's motivations. It actually changed my perspective on not only the Eternals but the Deviants as well, because they're just as much a pawn to everything as the Eternals. And so like you're thinking to yourself, are the Deviants really bad, or are they just configured
it starts to become that moral thing?
Yeah,
you're
or are they just tricked, or they're just built to be this way, and they don't even know what their purpose is, and you're just like, oh shit, that's kind of fucked up. The Aramesh is doing this thing. So I felt like that was like, that's why I kind of wish they would have jumped into it a little bit more, because I would have liked to like, because obviously one of the Deviants was like the one that was in charge, the one that was intelligent enough to absorb it. Did you know?
Yeah, Blanco.
Did you know who voiced that Deviant?
I don't right now, but had you asked me days ago, I did know who
Bill
that was.
Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård. Yep, it was Skarsgård.
Pennywise himself. Yep. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was going through the IMDb looking at the cast, and one day I was like, Bill Skarsgård was in this movie. I was like, what? Like, clicking on it, I was like, oh shit, he was Crow.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. You know, they didn't make that character as much of a central plot as he was in
Which
the comics,
they should have. I feel like
which
that
is a little unfortunate, right? I agree, and they do kind of give that nod to him and Athena because they have a relationship. There's a whole thing in the actual comics about those two, and a lot of things going on there. But
see, I felt like that was the one area where they could have really explored the deviance more, because he was the one that was like more advanced than the others. He could speak. You could really get his perspective on things, and you never got that. I was like, man, it was just like, what did Zach say? Camille, he got super buff. I'm going to talk about characters right now. I'm a little bit indifferent about how they handled the characters in this movie. First of all, this is an incredible cast. Okay, this is a diverse, talented cast, but some characters were strong, and others I felt were underdeveloped and not utilized very well.
And it wasn't the actor's fault either.
No, it wasn't at all.
I feel even the actors in those smaller roles just didn't get the kind of limelight they deserved. Very honestly, I really enjoyed the movie.
Can we talk about Sprite?
Talk about Sprite. Tell us about Sprite.
Didn't like her.
Didn't like Sprite?
I didn't think it was pivotal. What'd she do? She confessed her love and then stabbed someone in the back, kind of thing.
True.
Right? That didn't even matter.
It's true.
Right?
I can agree with that.
Like, it was one of those things where I was just like, what are you doing here? Like, the whole time I was trying to figure, I thought it was something more. I wasn't trying to be mean. I mean,
sure.
I still enjoyed it, but that was just like the one thing that kind of stood out to me, like, like maybe something more.
Yeah, there was a couple of characters like that. Like, I thought Druig, I would have liked to have known about Druig and more about his motivations. And, obviously he wasn't on board with the Eternals from the get. Like, he had a lot of animosity there, and I would have liked to have them explore Druig's, like, perspective a little bit more.
He was more of a villain in the comics.
I believe it. And I got that vibe, but I just feel like, man, I wish they would have kind of jumped into... Again, it's very difficult to jump into the backstory of 8 or 9 characters, even in a 2.5-hour movie. It's really difficult to do that. I wanted more of the Gilgamesh-Thena relationship.
I wanted more Gilgamesh.
Gilgamesh in general, more Gilgamesh.
He was stealing scenes.
I was super disappointed when he got pieced out when he did. I was like, oh, dude, really? I'm like, come on. But I love the dynamic. That dynamic there was very similar to Natasha and Bruce Banner. He's kind of there to kind of keep her in check, keep her in control. Not, one-to-one with that, but it was very similar to their relationship. And I really wanted to, I would have loved to have seen what they were doing in that entire time. There's a huge gap from when Salma Hayek's character says, hey, you guys can go do whatever you want, to present day. And you just want to know, what has Gilgamesh had to been putting up with Thena when she has these episodes? Because it's been going on for a long time, and they just developed this relationship, this friendship, and when they're when Gilgamesh is killed, you're just like, oh, dude, really? I want more Gilgamesh. He's a badass. He loved cooking, and he's a badass. He's got this fucking fist, a power fist. I mean, I thought I would have loved to have seen more of that. Again, Druid's backstory, I would have liked to have seen more. Tone, what else? Was there any other things that stood out to you that you wanted to discuss?
I mean, I'll just really more than anything, I'm just going to cover all, you can break down a little bit. I mean, for the most part, I'll just talk about the movie as a whole, I feel like, and how it fits. Because I actually really enjoyed the movie. I went in with moderate expectations, but I had a lot of high hopes because, again, this is Jack Kirby's baby. This is, all the Eternals. They kept it felt very, like, little old school for me, but man, I love a good fantasy sci-fi-ish film, and all these are clearly a lot of sci-fi, clearly a lot of fantasy, but there's just different tones of that, and I felt like this was kind of its own unique thing, and that's kind of why I liked it, is because it wasn't so tied to the actual MCU. Was it? Yeah, to a degree, but like it was more. It's like why I like the Silmarillion so much in Lord of the Rings. Like there's just this entire like beginning of everything that is really the backdrop for everything, but it's not noticeable because everything's so in your face. And that's kind of how this movie is. Like you've got the MCU going on everything, but like behind it, the reason why it's happening is because of the Eternals, of the Celestials and everything like that. That's why the Infinity Stones and all this stuff. So it's those kind of things I find really interesting because it's like this different type of storytelling.
Yeah, and I told you after the movie, I was like, I felt the same way about this that I did Dune, the first entry in the Dune movies. A lot of character development. I wish there was more. Mm-hmm. The focus wasn't on the action, but when it was there, it was grand in scale. It was epic. Mm-hmm. But again, it was just I really liked the world that they created. They were focused on, and the relationships that all the characters had with one another. And the only other issue I had was that, again, it goes back to the characters. Like Thena, I wish they would have fleshed out her character. I want to know more about Thena. They're so diverse. I mean, all these characters you can tell they have different backgrounds, even though Aramis kind of created that, out of thin air, so we don't really know what it was. But they all have their own distinct personalities. They have their own perspective on what their mission is and how they feel about it. There's just so much I felt they left on the table. And, you mentioned going forward, how are the Eternals going to fit into the MCU going forward? Now, it's difficult, I think, to talk about that or at least kind of like predict it, because I don't think we even know right now where the MCU is heading, and I don't think we're going to know until after Spider-Man drops and Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. Right. I think those two movies are going to set up the roadmap going forward for MCU, and I think with those two movies, it'll define kind of like where the Eternals fit in, because all these characters are still a thing.
Yeah. In some way, I think maybe that might be right. And I just think overall, like, what's some of those old sayings? Like, I'm going to fuck it up, but like the lions don't play in the day of like sheep or whatever. Like, you know what it is? Like they just
I have no idea. But it sounds like a great quote that you just butchered.
Anyways, yes. So I think that the whole point is that the Eternals and things like that, because they're literally like children of gods or whatever you want to call them.
Celestial beings or whatever.
They don't give two shits about everybody playing around on fucking little planets, Xandar, Earth, or whatever it is. It doesn't fucking matter, because they're dealing with these massive things of power that it's just, I mean, like I said, it'll fit in some way. Like that's why they give you the breadcrumbs with like, Black Knight and things like that, mm-hmm. or Thanos' brother, Star Fox there or whatever. So
yeah, we'll talk about the end credits here in a second.
So I mean, so like I think at the end of the day, like, it's not going to thread in as much as maybe some of the other ones, and maybe they'll cross some paths at some point. Maybe they'll need help, because I believe my thought process is this movie is the way they're telling their story, the way they're using Armesh, and the way they're talking about Judgment. I think this is all a big setup for Galactus. I think that's a big piece of why everything is going on, is to introduce Galactus. I think that's the whole thing, and you're going to need eternal help for somebody like Galactus. So,
and I feel like that's like one of the more difficult things about what the MCU does, is because we talked about this after the show with Rohit and with Crash and those guys. There's so many different layers of MCU heroes. Some are ground level, base level guys, and then there's some that are like fucking cosmic and super powered, like Thor and Captain Marvel. It's kind of difficult to imagine like Captain Marvel struggling with somebody like, give me a villain, or like Michael Keaton, like Vulture. Like that would not be that would not be a fucking
battle. Really give two shits about
it would be
Vulture.
Over in a minute. So you got to have something that's a threat on every level. Something that the baseline, the more human based like heroes can take care of. And then you got to have something like Galactus on a grand scale for like the more powerful heroes, if you will, to give them a challenge. So you kind of got to hit something up on every spectrum. Mm-hmm. So I thought it was a really, really good movie. I thought it was entertaining. I had a great time with it. The end credits scene, you mentioned Star Fox shows up. I didn't know who the fuck Star Fox was.
Do a barrel roll.
Do a barrel roll. I didn't even know who the actor was, Harry Styles. I didn't know that was him.
And Big fan.
One Direction. To die for.
Oh, this is a One Direction guy. Okay, cool. All right. Why did she not know how he was? Blanco. What's that? I've been thinking that Kang is a side villain. Were they not family in the movie?
I think his story is a lot different because of the stuff tied to Thanos and all that sort of stuff. And besides, they've been sitting on Earth for thousands of years. Who knows?
But there was the first credit scene, which I thought was cool. It was kind of like, it was over my head because I didn't know who the fuck this character was. I didn't even know Thanos had a brother.
Pip too, right? Like
what's that?
Pip, his little sidekick.
Oh yeah, was that Patton Oswalt? I think that was Patton Oswalt doing the voice of Pip.
Patton Oswalt.
But it was the second end credit scene. Not so much what we saw. I mean, you guys were kind of picking up on that later in the movie, and especially when Kit Harington towards the end and when you guys kind of saw it coming. But then there's right before that scene ends, Kit Harington opens up this chest or this case, and it's got what I'm assuming is the ebony sword.
The ebony sword.
Ebony sword. And he's about to grab a hold of it, and off screen you hear a voice say, "Are you sure you want to do that, Mr. Whitman?" And then boom, black screen. And in the theater, you couldn't really make out who it was. And we started talking, we were like, who the fuck was that voice?
I thought it was Sam Jackson.
And some people said, they were like, oh shit, that was Fury. But then somebody else made a point. They were like, but if it was Nick Fury, why would he be off screen? It's not like some surprise character. I mean, if it's Nick Fury, you would just show Fury walk out of the shadows.
That, motherfucker?
Yeah, are you sure you want to do that? And so we're sitting, everyone's talking about it, and everyone's thinking, is it something to do with, is it Merlin, or is it something like tied to the ebony sword or all this stuff? And I'm sitting there as I heard the voice, and I was like, man, that sounded like Mahershala Ali. But I couldn't be certain. Maybe just because I love Blade. Like, I love Blade. I love the character. And, I was like, man, that sounds like... And then I messaged you on the way home. I was like, has Blade ever had anything to do with the Black Knight? And you were like, I think they had something going on. So I started doing a little bit of research, and apparently they did ally for a while. And obviously, Kit Harington is going to be playing the Black Knight. And there is a storyline where they do ally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Blanco. Black Knight, Blade, and Moon Knight. And so I was like, dude, that's not like Mahershala Ali. That's fucking Blade.
And I was like, man.
And Crash was saying that he would, because he messaged you shortly after I did. He was saying the same thing, like,
he's
hey,
like, man, I'm starting to think it's Blade.
That's Blade. And everyone, and I'm sitting there going, like, no way, dude, that's not fucking Blade. And then later that night, Chloe Zhao confirmed that it is Mahershala Ali as Blade voicing. I was just like, holy fucking shit. Let's go, dude. Because I wasn't sure if we'd hear anything or see any reference to Blade at any point early on, like this early. I thought it'd be sometime after Doctor Strange, somewhere down the line, we'd see it like a little hint. But here we are.
Yeah, we're planting those seeds early, and that's probably the best way to do with some of these characters and what they're going to do for these phases, because these just a whole cast of people that either we're really mostly not familiar with. But this one's a little bit different, I think, and there's been rumors about him being in the Moon Knight movie as well, too.
Right.
Which is bigger. Moon Knight is a series.
It's a series, I believe. Moon Knight is a series.
It would be better as a series because you want that character fleshed out, because that character's wild.
Right.
That character's wild. So, yeah, really exciting just generally to have him come in and already like get Blade in there. Like I said, I thought it was Fury. So
it was really difficult to make out who it was, because the theater was a little bit. I mean, it wasn't super noisy, but it was just kind of muddled. And I was just like, and when somebody said Fury, I was like, no, dude, that's not. That wasn't Sam Jackson. Plus, if it's Nick Fury, they would just have him show up.
It was just true.
Yeah, you wouldn't have him off camera. Voicing something in. You would have Sam Jackson be like, no, motherfucker, I'm going to be on screen.
Bottom line I want to say about this, for me, is there anything else anybody wants to add before I bottom out with this? Bottom out,
baby.
All right. Bottom away. Okay.
Wesley is the new Spider-Man.
I did talk about this briefly on the spoiler-free brief video that we did, but I do feel like everybody needs to see this movie.
Yes.
I feel like it's getting its own bad rap because people are doing what they're doing, which is living in their head about it. All those lower reviews, and of course critics you can take or leave it, and we're like we're not critics, we're just enthusiasts.
We're fucking fans, dude. We're fans like y'all.
That's what movies you're supposed to talk about how they make you feel. That's the whole point of it, right? This movie isn't getting the proper love and light that it deserves, and it's a shame because if we don't show this movie love and say Marvel going off the cuff and saying let's introduce and play with some characters that might not be the most recognizable, if it doesn't do well, then we might not get to things like this again, and we might stay in a little bit more of a form box, and that's a shame because look what happened with Guardians of the Galaxy. Everybody was like, oh, what the fuck's a Guardians of the Galaxy? And then look what happened.
Right.
This movie might not be that because of those kind of characters, but who knows what it does for some of these folks. And you've got some great people that have been around for a long time in acting. This movie deserves a little bit more love than it's kind of getting, and it's kind of unfair that it's getting treated that way because all the titles are so fucking misleading. I mean, you can talk about the media all day on everywhere about how all the titles nowadays are just so fucking misleading. You know, talking about, box office bomb, it didn't do as good as this one or this one or this one. Well, there's reasons why. These aren't recognizable characters, for one. Two, the marketing was terrible for it. And three,
they did a really bad job building it up.
And three, like, it just doesn't have like this overall normal appeal that you're used to with the other MCU films.
It's not like a Black Widow, and it's not like Iron Man 3 where everything's blowing up. There is like some serious. They try some serious attempts.
And you got to look at it as an origin story. So guess what? Origin stories sometimes are slower burns. And you got to build some characters.
You got to build them up. Exactly.
It's a 2.5 hour almost fucking movie, and it felt like it was shorter than that. And by the time you start getting hooked and realizing what's really going on, you know, because you're going through some time stuff, and then once you start getting that, you're like, oh. And then you kind of start really kind of getting hooked into it. So all the people out there that are kind of naysaying or kind of on the fence or whatever it might be, you got to just give it a chance because honestly, like, this is far from a bad MCU film. Is it like the other ones? No. Is it as good as the other ones? That's going to be subjective. But is it a good flick just generally? Take out the MCU from it. This is a very neat, unique film to be able to get into some of the stuff that they do in the amount of time they do. And again, it's like you got to look at this. This story technically is the origin story of the entire MCU.
Valid point. You know, and Josh, you mentioned at the top of the discussion, you were like, you know, these are characters I don't know about. I mean, can you imagine going into this movie where you don't get the exposition, you don't get the character development, and they just kind of run into guns blazing and shit blowing up? I mean, you don't get that.
We'd be complaining about the lack of story development.
I mean, I'm already kind of doing that because there's a lot of characters. It's not the fault of the actual movie itself. They do the best they can. You have to make it. It's at the end of the day, it's an MCU movie, and it has to have some excitement. It has to have some explosions and battles. But you know, they did the best they could in 2.5 hours to basically flesh out 9 fucking characters, which is
7,000 years worth of their time.
Right. So, I mean, you have to expect this is not, they got to put time into that. And I mean, imagine going to see this movie, not knowing these characters and them just assuming that you know who the fuck they are. And then you're just watching things blow up and you walk on, you're like, well, I mean, that was exciting, but I still don't know who the fuck these people are. You can't really say that with this movie, even though they're still, I feel like they fleshed them out enough, but they're still paper thin. And I wish, like, you know, we could kind of do with the Eternals, kind of like what they did with the Avengers. Gilgamesh gets his own show, even if it's just on Disney Plus.
So Blanco kind of says that he's like, should this have been a D+ series? I don't know. Listen, here's bottom line: a series is always going to make everything better because you can stretch it out and actually character development outside of just an hour and a half or 2.5 hour movies. So yes, everything could be better on a D+ series for sure. Did they do what they could do with a 2.5 hour? I think so with this, honestly. Would it behoove them maybe instead of doing another movie for the second half of them to do it D+? I think that would be fucking phenomenal, very honestly. That would be a great idea. Who knows where they're going to go? If everybody just keeps hemming and hawing about going and seeing it, we might not see the rest of some of these character stories. And that's a damn shame because, you know, for all intents and purposes, what it's worth, this is a pretty sweet origin story to get into.
Instead of WandaVision, they should do Thena Mesh. Do a series that focuses on Gilgamesh and Thena.
I'd be into a Druid Chick Flash.
Let's do it.
Love series.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah.
Chick Flash.
That's what I'm gonna call it. I don't care.
She was really fast.
She was awesome. She was really awesome.
I do want to. I think we're kind of wrapping up on this. I do want to just kind of give a few shout outs. I saw some people out there. I did see It's Boots come in here. She did say something right when we were starting about Metroid being her first, first GameCube game. She's a big fan of that. So yes. I think a lot of us definitely that kind of happened to us. That was my first GameCube game too. As well, Malat, I saw you out there. Good to see you, my friend. Love to see you. Kisses. And a lot of you guys out there, I know, Blanco, you've got a lot to say in this, and I don't know if you've seen it yet, Blanco, but if you haven't seen Eternals, since you're definitely one of the ones that have a lot of thought process and stuff, you know, see it as soon as you can because we'd love to hear your feedback on it as well, too. So,
87's got a lengthy response here. I think for some of stuff, they are starting to get into how could be deeper into the comic book stuff now, and maybe more casual fans or people that only really know about the movie side could potentially get lost. I'm not sure, though. Could be wrong. I mean, I think it's a real slippery slope with some of these more obscure characters to kind of give them the right platform. You know, do you go big budget and put it on the big screen because that's where the money is? Or do you go for the audience at home to really kind of flesh them out and kind of like really get into that base? Because once you start selling D+ people, on certain characters and certain storylines. Then you put it out at the theater, and now you got this entire fucking fan base of subscribers who are like, oh shit, Gilgamesh is gonna be in this fucking Eternals movie. I've been watching the Gilgamesh Stina show. Oh, I'm gonna go to the theater and watch this. Maybe do it that you switch up and go the other round. You build up that interest leading to an Eternals movie. You know, like you said, we don't know shit about these characters. We didn't know anything about them except for the hardcore fans. Build them up on D+, then go to the Eternals at the theater.
Yeah,
Probably would have resulted better, but
D+ for more would be good.
We do know Eternals did open to the tune of $71 million at the box office, which is the worst opening for an MCU movie in 6 years. Ant-Man was the lowest up until that point in 2015 when it only made $57 million. The biggest issue right now is that it's not likely this movie is going to release in China. They've been very adamant about, they're very upset with Chloe Zhao about some comments she made back in 2013 about China itself. They have deep secrets and all this stuff. And so they're really upset with her and the comments that she made, and they're going to reject the release of this movie, which is going to ultimately impact the film's global, how much it makes.
The Chinese market's massive.
The Chinese market is fucking huge, and this movie is likely not going to show over there, and that is going to hurt the bottom line for this. So how that affects Eternals going forward as a franchise, how it affects, whether or not we'll see these characters. I mean, we obviously know Kate Harington's Black Knight is a part of the future going forward, but I mean, we really don't know if this movie does tank. We don't know when we're going to see these characters again and in what capacity. And that's really unfortunate. That's why when we say go and see it, really do it. It's an underrated flick.
Make your own decision for sure on watch it at least.
The UAE has already rejected it. I mean, it's seriously, man, like this movie is missing a lot of fucking markets, and it's gonna hurt the bottom line. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it's make money or don't, and that'll affect whether or not and how they pursue it going forward.
Well, maybe then that would be a good. Do a D+ then.
And do a D+, and build up the characters, then maybe come back to it once the pandemic, we're moved on from it, and we can pack the theaters, generate some hype through D+, and revisit it. But I thought it was a good movie, man. I really enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. It's going to be a real bummer if word of mouth hurts it with the audience scores and the reviews not being great. And if it's not making a lot of money, it's going to make it really difficult for Disney to invest a lot of money into any further films with the Eternals. So
someone brought up Fastos, man, that scene with his family when he was saying goodbye.
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
I was almost I was almost in tears.
That was really fucking hard.
I got to give a shout out to him too, because I can't remember his name offhand, but he's in a TV series called Atlanta, and I know a lot of people probably haven't had.
You're talking about Brian Trujillo?
Yeah. Dude, he plays this character in there called Paperboy, and it's, of course you got Lakeith in it as well too.
Lakeith Stanfield, oh boy,
and Childish Gambino as well too. And these dudes, like, this show is fucking amazing, and he's like one of the central characters in that. So I love the fact that he's getting like big screen love, because in my opinion, he showed that he can handle big screen.
Oh yeah, dude, he's done well in quite a few movies.
All about that Paperboy. It's right there. You go, Paperboy. Yeah, I know.
He was Miles' dad in Spider-Verse.
Oh, that's right.
About that part when he drops him off his school, he's like, "I love you, son." He's on the microphone, and the cop guy's like, "I love you," and he's like, "I love you, Dad." He's like, "Copy that." Yeah, he's a really good actor. He was in Child's Play, the new one, the one that was with Mark Hamill. He was a cop, the neighbor.
That's right.
And he's also in Joker. He's the guy down in the archives at Arkham.
He was also in Godzilla vs. Kong.
That's right. He was the crazy podcast dude. Yes, yes. All right. We're going to move on.
However,
that was a good conversation, but go ahead.
Before we move on.
Are you serious?
No, we should probably do another drink. What are we doing?
Oh, I thought we were going to do the movie reviews, because how many drinks do we have left?
3.
Let's do another one. Let's do another pairing. All right, before we get into Antlers, it's time for another pairing.
All right, I'm excited. I got no beer in front of me.
Well, this is going to be your last one, right? Because you're not drinking the last two because you're an old man.
We're just sipping on them.
Ooh, I need my
Holy shit. Did you see that?
Yeah. Dope, man.
Oh, what the hell, Tone?
See, Tone fucked it up.
Give me a defective bottle opener.
He did. That's what he does.
Got you live, bitch.
Oh, what do we got here? Shorts Brew. Oh, it's a Shorts.
Shorts Brewing Bel Air Brown.
Bel Air Brown.
Like the car? I think I've had this before.
Are we mixing this with Sour Patch Kids?
No, sir.
I was going to say, no way. No way.
You got there. I want to make sure everyone's getting enough. Tone needs the most.
Yeah, he
right?
needs the most because he's got to be
man.
responsible tomorrow. Loser. All right, so this is Shorts Bel Air Brown, a classic American brown ale, and I just trust Shorts.
Are we really going? Oh man, it's a big honking one too.
Oh man, I hate it when
remind me of
I hear
Turds.
Caddyshack. The Baby Ruth in the pool.
that. Dookie. All right. So we're going Snickers
So these are
with
getting
a
paired.
Snickers with
Bel Air
a brown.
Okay. All right.
Oh, caramel nougat.
Mm. Mm.
Don't make me laugh.
Oh man.
This has been surprisingly awesome.
Dude, that blends with the peanut butter and the Snickers so good.
Holy shit.
Oh shit! Happy early birthday, Wolf.
Happy birthday, Wolf.
How old are you gonna be? He's probably like a pup. He's like, I'm 30.
All right. The other half. Look at that nugget.
Dude, that
What do
is
you
so
think? Did you already eat all
good.
it?
No, I didn't eat all of it.
Oh. Are you not supposed to?
You can go ahead, but damn,
Well,
shove it all in there, dude.
Take it all.
You know what to do.
Dude, that is so good.
Stop.
Like I'm excited about how good this is.
That, like, dude, the way after you get into that middle of Snickers and you get that caramel and that peanut butter, and then you drink this, and it just meshes. It like comes together in perfect harmony, like Gilgamesh and Thena. It just makes sense.
Got to represent Jimmy.
Jimmy Z knows what's up.
Mm-hmm. Remember that time you couldn't meet him because you didn't go to Oracle?
I'm sorry, that's my bad.
That was
a busy week.
That was
That was a
lame,
busy
bro.
week.
No. Jimmy Z doesn't buy that. He thought it was
Definitely
rude.
gonna go there Friday night after work and get a beer though.
Are you going this Friday?
Probably.
What am I doing Friday?
I don't care. I ain't going.
Oh,
with
I'm
you.
playing Battlefield Friday. Prime.
It's like at 5:00.
Well, that's why I gotta play with him because he goes to bed at fucking 6. So
Good point.
Prime's gonna. I'll come out after I get done playing it with
There you
Prime.
See. All right. Now we can
That is
move on.
fucking
I really
good.
just wanted a beer, and I'm glad that I made you.
Holy
Panic Games is going on tonight, sir. How we doing? All right. Next movie we're gonna talk about. We wanted to go see this
That was awesome.
a couple weeks ago. We finally went and saw it Sunday. This is Antlers.
There was 6 of us, I think, in the theater.
There was 6 of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it was an empty theater.
Couple pairs.
Was really, when we saw the trailer for this, really hyped for it. I thought it was a really, really good trailer. Now this comes from this is 20th Century. Is it Searchlight? Which is like they're in the indie publishing portion of 20th Century Fox. They handle some of the smaller budget films, indie house movies. These are like, I don't want to say low budget, but they're not huge, like, you know, big budget movies. But they bring in talented actors, and they typically have some very thought provoking storylines. And this takes place in an isolated Oregon town, which I felt they captured brilliantly. The cinematography in this movie, some of the things they capture out in Oregon, some of the shots are absolutely beautiful of this town, even though it's this very desolate, like worn down town, like blue collar, and they do some great shots of
Rainy.
it. Yes, it's what you would expect from like out in Oregon.
Yes,
it's raining, but it's an isolated Oregon town that is terrorized by an ancestral creature. It's a monster movie first and foremost. It's a monster movie, and I'm a big fan of monster movies, especially if the monster's well done. And in this case, the monster's well done. But Tone, I know you were hyped about this. I think you came away from this feeling really good. Give me your initial thoughts on this, man.
I absolutely adore this movie, and I cannot wait to rewatch it as soon as I can and share it with anybody else that's able to watch it with me, because this, like, I had a hint of what I thought it was, and it was what it was, and I loved the fact that it was so fucking dark, and not just, like, everything was dark in the movie, like, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a dark movie, but, like, the music, the suspense, like, I don't get jumpy in a lot of horror movies. Horror movies really have to do certain things to really make me feel excited about it or enjoy it. And this was hitting a lot of the things that I want out of my horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I got to tell you, like, the gore the gore is always a big seller for me. And we were sitting there.
10 minutes in, I was like, is this movie PG-13 or R? And you're like, I don't know. And then in like 10 minutes later, I was like, yeah, it's R.
Yeah, because we were looking at it, we couldn't tell. And then like, oh, it's, and then surely not long after that, all of a sudden, yeah, it's fucking
R-rated.
But yeah, it's very, very, it almost at times makes you feel uncomfortable. Like it kind of gets a little existential, which I thought was unique.
Yes.
And really gets into some of that trauma and different things, and like you almost don't expect or see that. And I feel like this is one of those movies that layers it so well that I don't think everybody's going to catch that, and that's fine. I think it's just meant, it's kind of one of those movies like if you get it, you see it, you get it, that's fine. But
allegory, I think, is the word they use to describe it. It tries to use some of its themes and inject that into the horror elements of it. It touches on things like opioids and addiction and trauma.
On so many levels. This movie is very like, it wants you to feel uncomfortable, and guess what?
Yeah, you do.
And because of the fucking score. The score
soundtrack's
of this,
amazing.
I was completely blown away. I think about halfway through, I was just like, dude, this score is unbelievable. Like, this is unbelievable. Like, it's the kind of thing you want in horror movies, that they play to, and maybe it didn't change all the time except for just some little tweaking here and there, but it was always consistent in the right spots, the right characters and things that were going on. It was fucking perfect. This movie, like, I know hasn't been rated great, which is really weird to me.
It's reviewed okay, but I feel like it's
right around the 6.5, 7. I feel.
Yeah, but I feel like at the same time, and I talked to you about this after we saw it. It reminded me a lot of Hereditary, where even though Hereditary reviewed really well with critics, its audience score was not good. Simply because it's not a fucking feel-good movie.
This is not a feel-good movie in any way. And honestly, that's the kind of movie I look for. That's what I want.
I feel like that's movies. A bold decision. I feel like that's a bold choice for a writer and a director and a cast to commit to something like, look, man, you're not going to walk out of this movie going, oh, thank God, everything is okay going forward, and they've figured out the problem, and everyone's gonna be happy. It's not that fucking type of movie. No. And if you're looking for resolve, and if you're looking for a positive outcome, you're not gonna find it here. But what you will find is an incredibly well-made horror movie that focuses on dread, tension, and the effects of trauma, and it relies on all that more than cheap-ass fucking jump scares. And I feel like that's where the strength of this movie is. It's psychological to a degree, but this is a horror monster movie through and through.
It makes you feel uncomfortable, and and you really feel like some of the main characters. You see like the struggles of everybody. You learn the struggles of a lot of different.
Yes, like Kerry Russell and Jesse Plemons.
They sprinkle in her struggles. And they don't even make it. Like,
and
she's got struggles.
You stepped out at the scene that I was telling you about. That I was like, holy fuck, this is.
Yeah, you're right.
You see a scene where Kerry Russell is at her house. This is where she grew up with her brother, and their father was just a real fucking piece of shit. And there's a scene where she's like playing a piano in this house, and as she's doing it, she's having this memory of like her father, and like it's so creepy because at first you see somebody walking up behind her, and you think it's her brother that wants to come in and make amends and try to fix their relationship, because she left a long time ago because of what her father was doing to her. And as this person's walking up behind her, you realize that's not her brother. You're like, what is going on? And then he kind of gets handsy with her, and you're like, oh fuck, this is her dad. Mm-hmm. And then you kind of a couple more scenes, you're like, man, okay, so you kind of get an idea of what her trauma was like, and you don't really see it. Like, her and her brother are at odds because he's disappointed that she left. Like, she left him for a long time. But there's a good scene in the hospital where she's like, she's upset with her brother because he's not understanding of her situation and how she's feeling. And he says to her, you have no idea what he did to me.
That was like one of those moments.
And you're
in the
like,
movie,
fuck, there you go.
Yeah, you were just like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many scenes in this movie that are like impactful emotionally. Where you're like, oh shit, man, I appreciate that they're doing this stuff, because this could have been just a straightforward monster movie like The Relic, the one that I like from the 90s. I thought Relic was really good, but it was a straightforward. This adds layers to it. It's much like Hereditary. It focuses on trauma, the effects of it on a family, but it also nails the monster vibes. Now, the one scene that we'll talk about, and I know it's a scene that you're interested in because of the Wendigo, there's some interesting stuff there, but the one scene that I feel like the movie kind of struggles with is the exposition and the explaining of the actual creature in this movie. It's based on this myth created by indigenous people. That's something that they believe in. And when they explain it, they have Graham Greene, who's an Oscar-nominated actor. He's a very talented actor. He's really good, and he's convincing in the scene. But it goes by so fast, you're like, okay, apparently they know it's heavy-handed. They're like, let's throw it out there and just move on and get back to the scares. I felt like that part of it was interesting, but I know you're interested. You haven't seen it, but you're interested from the Wendigo perspective.
Oh yeah, Wendigo and not deer are highly interesting things to me. Like my family and I, we go to Tennessee every year, and this recent year we stayed in the mountains, and I did a little bit of reading and stuff. And like there's this weird conspiracy theory that like Teddy Roosevelt, like the true conservationist that he was, knew about a lot of these creatures from like time that he spent with Native people, and that's why we have the national park system, is to kind of keep them
confined.
And they say that's why a lot of people go missing in these.
And that's no bullshit.
Parks.
There's people that disappear.
Conspiracy theory about that disappearance thing.
And there's a hashtag on TikTok, hashtag Appalachia, and they talk about people that live there talk about things that they hear in the woods, and you'll hear like a baby cry, and they're like, if you hear a baby crying in the woods, no, you didn't, walk away. And they say, if you hear someone whisper your name, no, you didn't, turn around and walk away. And they talk about not deer, which not deer are things that look almost like deer, but you can tell there's just something a little bit off about them. And they just stand there and they look at you. And it's just like, it's like super eerie. Like their head's tilted a little, or like they have like a really long neck. It's just a creature that's trying to look like a deer to make you feel more comfortable, so you'll get closer to it.
You're creeping me out.
Yeah, dude, you just ruined this for me right now, and I'm like I just feel like he pitched the sequel to Antlers. Like his 20th century Searchlight here.
I want to come back to a little bit what you're saying, if there's anything, but I do know there are people out there that talk about like the missing people in the parks, and I know there's a couple guys out there do some YouTube stuff, and it's really conspiracy heavy. I do know though that one thing that I did see, the correlation with those missing people, are one thing in common. Do you know what that is?
What is it?
The underground either caverns or mining areas of North America. Because when you match up the two different pieces of like, here's all the blotches and people and dots where people disappear, and then you might take this other one that shows all the caves and all the like systems, and like
they all match up.
They all match up because people probably walking in the woods, and you hollow weak ground fall into a cave or whatever it is. So
I mean, and there's bears. So I mean,
well, there's clearly that too, but I just wanted to get that out there. But
you talk about caving systems, I immediately started thinking about the movie The Descent.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, there you go,
dude. Yeah, because they're basically, I think they're in the same like Appalachia, like they're up in that area, and they're like, oh, we're gonna go through this cave that's never been explored, and they go down there and you're just like, oh, fuck, no.
7 right. I know. The way he explained it creeped me the fuck.
Dude, A7, I'm not even joking. I'm sitting here going, we'll never have him on the show ever again.
Yeah, right. And Kayla,
I'm gonna edit this whole fucking thing. I'm gonna cut out this whole segment. We never reviewed Antlers. What you're watching right now will not be in VOD, and it will not be in the audio version.
That the old school, like the 1, 2, 3, 4, like the but so okay. You're trying to tell me that there's really conspiracy people out there talking about Teddy Roosevelt and all this stuff. So
right, because these things have been here before us, right?
Sure.
And so it's you want to preserve them, right?
Yeah. The weird deer freaking me out right now.
Dude, when you're talking about a deer that twitches and it's got a long neck,
but wait,
walk away? Nope. My fat ass is running faster than I've ever ran in my entire life. I'm gonna have a heart attack getting away. I don't fucking care. No way.
Even
dude.
Better. My wife, my family, and I, we went to the Tunnel of Trees over the past weekend up northwest Michigan.
Petoskey area.
Yeah. And we got to the end of it, which is
Harbor
Springs, the southernmost part. And my wife goes, oh, deer. And we are in a completely residential area, right? It's houses lined up next to each other and just like a drop-off with more houses over here. And there's just 2 deer, and they got their heads kind of tilted, and they're just watching traffic drive by. And I go, oh, those are not deer. To my wife.
Fucking stop.
I thought he was going to say something like the one holds up a sign that says this way down a derelict path or away from the houses. Come on this way, man. Come check it out.
The first thing my wife goes, are you fucking with me? And I'm like, no. And then I explained to her what not deer were the whole ride home.
And she got served papers on Sunday.
Yeah.
By the way.
I'm looking for a room to rent.
Right?
No, but I mean that's kind of like what they're dealing with in this movie. That's definitely and I mean obviously there's conspiracy theorists.
Who said that about the missing 411? That's the missing
Jimmy
411. That's the shit I'm talking about. That guy out there. That conspiracy theory about the missing people and people can't find. That's the cavern thing I was talking about. But I digress. That's a whole other. That's a rabbit hole.
That shit's scary, man. I mean I know a lot of it is conspiracy theories.
About? Okay, that's rabbit hole shit.
Sean Paul says, "Are you bucking with me?" I get it, Sean. I get it. No, this movie is fucking dope. I really, really enjoyed it. I would have liked the explanation part of it to be a little bit better. I do feel like, it's pretty obvious. Like I said, they're trying to have like these allegory things, where it relates to what's going on in the movie. But because, I mean, you got people who are on meth and all this stuff. You got trauma. So, I mean, and the way they work it into the storyline, it's pretty obvious. But at the end of the day, man, this is a movie that is not a feel-good horror movie, but it's an effective horror movie. It keeps you on edge. It doesn't rely on jump scares. Right. The performances are great. The little kid, that Jeremy Thomas kid, he's fucking incredible. That's like a Henry Elliott in E.T. type of performance. He's incredible.
Or Haley Joel in like Sixth Sense.
Yes, yeah, Haley Joel Osment in Sixth Sense. This kid is fucking talented. Keep your eyes on Jeremy Thomas. I mean, this is a very mature flick. It's a very mature horror film. I mean, some of the visuals you see are fucking horrific. This is horrific. Pistons 112, Rockets 104, 13 seconds left. Thanks, Prime, for that sports update.
That's what I like to hear.
Is Cade Cunningham hitting any threes yet, or is he still in the 2% area?
He's been balling a little bit, actually.
All right, about time, man. He's only a number one pick. But overall, Tone, awesome movie.
You saw my reaction out of the. I think I couldn't stop talking about it. I was so excited walking out of the theater over it. Because it's hard for me, everybody, to find a horror film that really gets me to that level.
It ticks off the boxes and all that.
This one does for me, and it's not bullshit ghosts.
Yeah, it's legitimate. And like I said, when it comes down to a monster movie, something like The Relic or something like that, it has to be a monster that you're just like, oh shit, that's fucked up. And when you first get a view of this thing and it's basically wearing a human face, you're just like, oh shit.
Dude, I want to see this movie. I can't wait till it comes out. I really want to watch it.
This is something you want to watch in the dark, audio turned way the fuck up, because again, he mentioned the score is incredible, and it's just the sound in this movie. It's atmospheric, and the way it's shot is incredible. And I was telling Tone, I don't know if you guys have seen, I'm sure most of you have seen 1982's The Thing.
Oh, God.
But there's a couple of scenes where, like, the thing is morphing into something, and it has, like, this, it sounds like a rattlesnake, or, like, it's, like this weird sound.
Like
staticky, like, rattlesnake sound. And they use this in this movie to really good effect. Like, it's,
oh my God,
you're just like, man, that's fucked up, dude. So there's some homages in there. It's just it's a great movie,
and
it's really
let
good.
us not forget, we're talking about The Thing. Who produced this? Was an executive producer was Guillermo del Toro, who's a huge Lovecraftian guy as well too, and loves this kind of shit. And he might not have had a heavy hand in it, but
you can see he doesn't have a heavy hand in it, but he knows what he wants to see on screen. When you're a producer, you want a particular product on the screen, a particular theme, and he fucking nails it, dude. Like, it's an awesome movie. It's highly underrated. I don't think it's made much money. Again, it's one of these smaller films. It came out of Halloween, which is disappointing to see that it hasn't really made a ton of money, because I mean the trailer was really effective. Like, they did a great job for this movie, but obviously, Jesse Plemons and Kerry Russell, we love them. We think they're very talented. They're not big name actors. They're not going to bring in the draw, especially during a pandemic. So it's unfortunate. But once this movie hits fucking VOD, or you can rent it or buy it, this thing has like cult classic written on it. I mean, it really does. It's just an effective movie all around. It's really, really good. So definitely dig that. Moving on to our third movie, then we'll have our next drink. Let's talk about The Harder They Fall. Available now on Netflix. Tone, when we saw the cast for this movie, we were like, oh shit, this is talented as fuck. This is going to be a dope-ass movie. Really excited about it. Tone, lead us off, man. Tell us what you thought.
I feel like this is one of the best movies I've seen this year, from an entertainment standpoint.
Why?
Just how much I enjoyed it. Like, I'm not saying like it's like one of the best movies, and like as far as like winning awards or anything like that. But overall, I really, really, really enjoyed every single minute of this movie. There's some things that I believe I digressed with you and agreed with on some of the things. But I just felt like that the entire time this movie just, no pun intended, but a pun intended, got on that train and just boogied the entire time. Like because the cast is so diverse and so rich and great people that have do their job well, you're just entertained the entire time. I feel like even though the characters might not always have enough backstory or fleshed out, some of the things I feel like that's kind of some of the weaknesses is that you don't know a lot of the.
That's a theme with all spaghetti westerns,
right?
Which is
fine. If you look at it as a traditional spaghetti western, this is a holy shit spaghetti western. It's what you want in a spaghetti western.
It's what would be if Tarantino directed a spaghetti western.
Well, without being overly Tarantino as well, too, though. And there are moments where it kind of leans, I thought, kind of had some of that Tarantino vibe or a little bit. And I felt like it would have even been better had they leaned into that a little bit more.
Yes.
But they're not Tarantino, so I get it. It's not Tarantino doing this. But, man, I had an absolute blast watching this the entire time. I love and continue to love seeing Jonathan Majors take big roles because, he is one of the next guys. And yes, we got Idris Elba in it, and who we both agree, and you'll probably get into a little bit more exactly. He definitely was weakened in this role a little bit, and that's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, I don't know if necessarily it was overly about him, and then that kind of comes full circle at the end. But, man, I got to tell you, I just got to praise Lakeith one more time. And I'm going to continue to tell everybody on this character here.
Cherokee
if
Bill?
You have not, you everybody's seeing like these great acting, these roles he's playing. When he was in what was the one earlier this year?
Judas and the Black Messiah.
Judas and the Black Messiah, which is literally one of the best movies this year on all levels, hands down. People got to see his chops on that one, which was very diverse. Mm-hmm. You get to see a little bit of him in this, kind of more in that like Doc Holliday role.
He chews up his scenes. Man.
Yes, and I'm telling you, if you have to see him in Atlanta to know why every time I see him in these roles, why I continue to get excited, because that's what he does in Atlanta. He's comedic, and he just chews up those roles, and he just steals everything. I mean, and it's hard to do that when you've got somebody like I always say Childish Gambino just because I do, but when you're taking scenes from him, and he can do that, and I'm telling you, like, this movie was absolutely a blast to watch. And there's definitely, and I was probably really starry-eyed about it because of the cast, but learning that these characters, the one I knew for sure when it came to the old man Bass,
Delroy Lindo.
Delroy Lindo's character.
Yep.
I knew a little bit about the actual backstory, and that the Lone Ranger is based off him as well too. I knew a little bit about that, but I didn't realize the scope of how these characters were in some way historically actual characters, because well, that's a whole other topic, but. You got to watch this movie. It's really fun. I would love to hear what everybody thinks about it. I felt like it was a longer movie, but it didn't feel like it. It like I said, it got on that train and it just chugged away, and I was having a blast.
Yeah, it's an entertaining flick. It's stylish. The soundtrack is dope. I mean, it's a mixture. It's what would happen if you were to take the spaghetti westerns of the early days and mash it up with the 70s blaxploitation films. I mean, you put it all together, and that's what you get. And you add some sprinkle of Tarantino to it. You don't have the writing of Tarantino films, but you have the bloody action when things ramp it up. It's really, really good. The thing that bums me out the most about this movie is the cast, because they are so good. Everybody in this movie is really fucking talented. Regina. And some people are really good because they're given good material, but they're also able to elevate it with their performance. Regina King as treacherous Trudy, fucking awesome. Lakeith Stanfield as Cherokee Bill, fucking awesome. Jonathan Majors, really good in his role. His obviously you figure out who his character is and his relation to Idris Elba's character. But then you have characters like Zazie Beetz, pretty much just there's a damsel in distress, which is disappointing because she's so talented and she's so charismatic, and you would love to give her some more, even though she does have an awesome showdown with Regina King at the end of the movie, which is fucking dope. But man, is 2021 the year of just underutilizing Idris Elba?
I guess so.
For Christ's sakes, man, this guy... He almost looks like Bruce Willis in all of his movies. He is just phoning it in. Like, I understand he's supposed to be like this menacing character, this this heartless character because you realize what he's doing at the beginning, but fuck, he phones it in the rest of the movie, and it's basically because he's not given anything to work with.
Right.
Nothing at all. And he delivers this huge twist at the end, but even then you're just like,
it felt almost too anticlimactic.
it would have been cool if it wasn't just, anticlimactic. It was just like he didn't get to really do anything. And it was just like, fuck, man, because you can see it. It's close. Like they want to utilize him, but the writing and the story itself is what failed him here. He does what he can, but because you feel like he's this volcano that's going to erupt at any point. He's got this very calm demeanor, but you know he's a monster, and you're like, man, let's see that rage. I know it's building, and you never get it.
He turns into a puppy.
But I do like that because it kind of fits the motivation of his actions and why he's telling Jonathan Majors this.
No, I guess I should say that like he turned into a puppy, but it would have been nice to see that before he turned into a puppy.
Like give me some. I mean, they had multiple issues. That they never really gave his character a chance to really, lash out.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to see little bits, but it just, he's talented as fuck. Use the man.
How does it go? Okay, what did you think about it?
He thought the trailer was dope.
Yeah, he liked the trailer.
Could have used some more not deer in it.
That's right. So Cherry says out there, we got some questions out there and some good stuff. Cherry says, important question: how does it compare to old Eastwood films? Man, I feel like his westerns are more dark and gritty. This is more spaghetti
this
westerns.
Is way more like
this
poppy
is more
and
like,
breezy.
This is like more like the earlier westerns in a way. I think I guess the way I look at it in some way.
Yeah, it's you could take this, you could see this being an Eastwood movie, and then just adding this shine to it and making it a little bit more comic-y, a little bit more fun. Like you said, the Eastwood flicks, the was The Man with No Name. His movies, those movies were a little bit darker, a little bit grittier, slow burns. This one was a little bit more energetic, more pop. And it was just kind of like a breezy story. How does it compare to Tombstone? I don't think it does, even though I think there's some similarities between
Tombstone's
Johnny Ringo and Cherokee Bill.
So you got more Johnny Ringo as opposed to Doc Holliday. I got more Doc Holliday.
I guess it's a hybrid of both because he's got that he's got that chill, relaxed. Yeah. I'm not scared of shit of Doc Holliday.
But he was so mouthy.
But when he was really dialed in, that's when I got the Johnny Ringo vibe. Like, okay, yeah, he is menacing. He is kind of a scumbag. I would have loved if Idris Elba was more Curly Bill, but Curly Bill I felt it was like a little bit over the top. Idris Elba's character was a little bit more subdued.
Bye.
The great Powers booth. But no, I don't think it's quite on the level of Tombstone, but it's worth a watch. I think it's worth a watch. I just feel like it was a breezy flick. It's a light flick. It's there for action. It looks good. It's entertaining. Most of the characters are convinced. I mean, everyone's convincing. Just they're not wholly interesting, is the point that I'm trying to make. But overall, definitely worth a watch. I mean, it's on Netflix. It's got a stellar cast. Everyone in there. You love to watch them on screen. Just, don't expect too much.
It's not a movie where I would say, we talk about some movies that are like, I'll never watch this again or forget about it. I would, there's some point I'll probably want to rewatch this movie again.
I would watch this again. I would watch it again.
It's not that kind of a, like I said, I had a great time watching it. I really enjoyed my experience with it. But
awesome.
Agree.
But
all right.
How does it compare to Back to the Future 3?
Ooh. Biff Mad Dog Tannen. Yeah, I was curious. I want to see if it makes me pass out. If it does, best movie ever.
Are they talking about? They're talking about something else out there. That
if you had to pick the cast, for, man, I don't know what's going on. Jimmy Z said, I saw that. I'm trying to catch up with everything that was going on.
There's a whole other side conversation going on out there. Actually, they're really.
But that's why the chat's
really
awesome. They keep it going.
Awesome.
That's why they keep it going. All right, let's get back to the next drink.
Hey, Draston.
Uh-oh. This is for you, Dundon.
Oh,
time for the Pumpkin Slayer.
Pumpkin Slayer?
Shit.
Now, if you are not familiar with my content,
shame on you.
For the month of October, I did pumpkin beer battles every week where I would take 2 different pumpkin beers.
Yeah, I don't know. Is dude worthy of this 7D?
That's exactly why I get to drink it, because I shit on Ohio. It's like my reward.
Well, when you flush, it just floats out.
But yeah, this was the winner of the pumpkin beer battles.
Oh, really?
It's all thanks to Draston for giving me this beer, because it's a spiced pumpkin ale with coffee, and let me tell you,
It is definitely one of the best pumpkin beers that I've
Yeah.
also personally had as well too.
and the artwork on this,
That
just
is-
like a Viking slaying shit, is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a picture of it and put it in the Discord.
We do want to. I would like to at least say that. Because Ohio's been so good to me with beers over the last year or so. We got to be thankful at least for a couple things. That's for the beers and for Cherry Squishy, and sometimes Dresden. There's the good things I've said about Ohio today. So there you go. What brewery is this?
Royal Docks out of Canton, Ohio.
Royal Docks. Yeah, I got you 70 sometimes.
What the heck is going on?
Because listen, Kit Kat wrappers are fucking bullshit. Doesn't matter what fucking size it is.
It's a wrapper.
They're fucking bullshit, dude. Even the little ones do this shit that he's just dealt with. That's bullshit.
They had a Halloween variety. There was 3 different flavors. There's like an orange cream, a graham cracker.
Yeah, I've had that before. The orange cream's
yeah.
actually pretty fucking good. You wouldn't think.
And then when we went on our trip to up north, there was a fruity pebble Kit Kat we found at the gas station, and that shit was really
How did
good
those
too.
packages open?
Terrible.
See? Fucking
All right.
told you. All
Kit
right.
Kat's pumpkin spice ale.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Dude, I almost don't want to eat this Kit Kat. I don't think I need this for a pairing.
Right.
Oh fuck, this might be the best one yet.
This one's got fucking flavor. Dude, that is fucking good. Ohio's a cesspool, but damn, they make a good pumpkin ale.
Zach Dynamite knows the fruity cereal ones are off the charts. But yeah, this is just great. I mean, this beer is phenomenal by itself. Like you before you even bring it up to your nose, you're getting that pumpkin spice. But I just think like the chocolatey Kit Kat with this one's just
It's so fucking good.
yeah.
Like I said, I've got two pumpkin beers that are at the top of my list, and this is one of them.
I'm gonna choose this and eat it because I just want to drink this thing without fucking chocolate.
Jesus H.
That is really good.
Mhm.
You can only get this in Ohio, I'm assuming. I
I
can't.
think so, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Dress, the next time you come out, bring me some way. I'm not going down
He
there.
can't find it anymore either. He was just complaining about it the other day.
Well, that's
Yeah.
all he does is
Seasonal.
complain. Doesn't
So we'll
look.
have to stock up on it next year, this time of year. Or
The other for me
Halloween.
is Paranormal pumpkin beer. It's really good.
That's fucking good.
Jimmy Z. I had a really good one from it was Wooden Cask. I mean, it wasn't great, but like they did a dunkel that they added pumpkin spice flavor to, and I was like, it could have been better, but it was just, yeah, it made me really excited. Oh, Blaylock.
Yeah, Blaylock. And he did say, he was somebody else. He said it was nice to see all three of us together. You're right, Blaylock, and it's nice to see you as well. I've always complained, always complain about I feel like lack of flavors we get in Michigan. It's getting better, but you can't tell me that a chunk of that is IPA. Whereas when Drassen brings stuff up here, we're getting things that like are fruited sours, these crazy pumpkin beers. I feel like we're limited some in Michigan.
I think you got your blinders on when you go to the beer store, though.
He's always looking at Miller Lite. He can't. He's so
I'm not.
focused.
Well, the problem is I look at a cool can art. I'm like, oh, it's an IPA. Throw that in the trash. It's IPA. Throw that in the trash. I'm telling you, I feel like there's a lot of IPAs up here.
There are no,
And it takes up so much more space. It's a shame.
I disagree. This is a
no.
good IPA.
That
Blackberry
is.
IPA.
It is.
It's one of the few I like. But you think that Michigan's on par still with, or is it because I'm my IPA perspective probably actually sees that?
I think we're top notch. Our beers are.
I think when we do certain things, we do it really well. But I'm just saying, like, that compared to the flavors, I just don't know. I feel like Ohio's killing it.
Strawberry M43, right?
IPA.
Founders, KBS.
We got some big names.
Mackinac,
Yeah.
right?
But
OCP.
everything's like darker beers and IPAs. Like, where's all our fruity stuff?
Darker beers and IPAs.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get him, Josh.
This
Get him.
argument's going nowhere.
Get him.
I don't want to go.
No, bury him. Bury this fucking loser right now in front of everybody.
So what style beers are you looking for then, Tone?
Mostly fruited sours, but
Okay.
I like a lot of the like stouts and stuff, and like porters for me sometimes, like I would say probably 2/3 of the time I like porters. There's a third of the time that I don't like them.
Tricky Bell's Tropical is really awesome. We got to head over to Arvon Brewing. They do that fruited sour stuff too. That's over in Grand Rapids.
Well, and I was gonna say I feel like that part of the state is finally, and I'm feeling like I'm seeing it more and more as I go out, like to Eastman's and stuff.
Right.
I am finally starting to see more fruited sours and more like variety of things. But everything that looks like cool on a can art, you're like, oh, I wonder what that's gonna be. And it's 90% of the time it's an IPA.
Jimmy Z says, Tone, it's the smaller breweries, Waxwing and Arvon, etc.
That's fair. That's why he's the half-ass beer review, and I'm just a generic guy.
You're just a piece of shit. Get it right.
I'm gonna smack the shit out of you.
Oh, daddy likey. All right. Great drink.
Oh, that was awesome.
Do you want to save the next one for after the games? Then we'll do one more. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
works.
Let's move on. We've got a couple of games we want to discuss, some impressions. We played these games extensively. Last Friday, I said I wasn't going to buy Call of Duty.
Oh, my God.
The Wednesday before that, I said I wasn't going to buy Call of Duty. And guess what? I fucking bought Call of Duty because I'm a big part of the problem. But I played it for you guys. I wanted to talk about it for you guys and girls. I sacrificed myself for God and country to tell you about Call of Duty Vanguard.
Yeah, it's Call of Duty.
It's actually really good.
Is it?
It's actually really good.
Really?
I've played a considerable amount of time in the multiplayer.
Zach says it's outstanding.
Yeah,
Jerry called you a sellout.
She's not wrong. She's not wrong. I am a total sellout.
Just Canadians getting close. We got some fart noises.
Oh, it's coming up, Blanco. Don't worry. I'm just going to talk a little bit about Call of Duty. The thing that, look, Call of Duty is going to be Call of Duty no matter what. So when it's the same game every year, the same gameplay, it's never needed to change the gameplay. I've always thought Call of Duty has played very, very well in terms of its mechanics. If I suck at it, it's not because of something else or hit detection. It's because I suck at it.
May I say this, though? Because I feel like a lot of people feel like the hitboxes on Treyarch games aren't as good as some of the other developers of Call of Duty. Do you feel like that's fair? No?
I honestly, man, when it comes down to it, I find myself, I think I've just been raised to bitch and rage during Call of Duty, and I think everybody has. When it comes down to hitboxes and shit like that, I'm not going to sit there and pretend I fucking know anything about networking and latency and all that stuff, how it comes into play. All I know, dude, is if I shoot at somebody and I don't kill them, it's the game's fault. Until I get done playing, I'm like, man, I fucking was just booty that game. Then I'll go back and watch the tape, or I'll watch a replay of a stream, and I'll be like, wow, no, I just fucking suck. So, but at the same time, one of the things I feel like this game has done really well with the multiplayer are the maps. Maps are super important to a game like this, especially when the gameplay's there. I feel like this is the best set of maps we've seen in a Call of Duty game in a long time. A really good variety of maps. Some smaller, some bigger maps that are built for certain things.
Old maps?
Honestly, man, if there are old maps, I don't know which ones are old maps. I think there's a lot of like new maps in this game. They're really, really, really well done maps. They're really good. But the thing that I really dig about the maps, and actually the matchmaking itself, is they added this thing to it where like you can set up a playlist of like the modes you want to play, but then you can change the types of how they're played. Like you can set it to either tactical, blitz, or all out, or normal. And tactical, what it does is it puts you in a queue for all these modes that you want to play. Like I play Kill Confirm, Team Deathmatch.
Kill Confirm's one of the greatest, I believe.
Domination, stuff like that, tactical stuff. And when you play it in the tactical mode, it's smaller amounts of people, so it's a little bit more tactical. Whereas if you were to play Blitz, it would just mash a shit ton of fucking people into these maps, no matter the size, and it's more chaotic. Sure. So they allow you to kind of change it up and tailor it to your style play. I play on the tactical side. But overall, I just feel like these maps are really, really good. There's destructible walls. They added like some of that Rainbow Six Siege stuff, give you alternate paths to go through, change up your strategy. But it just feels really good to play. Jimmy Z says, dude, I'm in the same boat. I always feel like I'm aiming at the opponent, but they never fall and eventually take me down. I feel like that too. I feel like sometimes there's multiple times where I have the drop on somebody and I'll kill them and I'm just like, okay, cool. Or I don't kill them and I'll bitch, but then I'll watch like the kill cam. I'm like, oh, I really wasn't even close to that person. I was way behind. So but at the end of the day, I think it's fun. I love the weapons. I love the gameplay. It feels good to play. The modes and whatnot. The maps are great. The zombies part of it, I'm a little bit indifferent on because we're not doing the round based anymore, where you just continuously play nonstop rounds until you're completely overrun.
Right.
It plays out kind of like a roguelike game now. where you drop into this main area. And this is where some of your Juggernaut stuff is, some of your upgrade and whatnot. You earn your credits and you can go buy your stuff, increase your reload speed and health and what have you. But the way it's set up is there's portals littered around the map. And you can be like, okay, I want to do this one first. And you go click on it and everyone votes to go in there. And you get transported to another map, a smaller map, and it says complete this objective in a certain amount of time. You complete the objective. And then you drop, and once you complete it, it's like, okay, going back to the main area. So you go back to the main area, you use all your credits and whatnot, upgrade your stuff. But as you continue to push forward, it gets more difficult. Like the zombies, there's more of them, they take more hits and whatnot, but you're upgrading your stuff. So it's roguelike in a sense that it's not a continuous run where you can keep unlocking new areas and moving forward. You're getting transported to these different areas, completing different tasks, and come back out until a certain point where it says you can exfil now, which means you can leave. Or you can continue to push forward, but there's no main story this time.
Have you played the Call of Duty Black Ops 4 zombies at all? Because this sounds a little bit like that.
That's kind of where they introduced this new style of play. They still had round-based stuff, but they added like this objective-based roguelike elements to it to make. I think it's to make it a little bit more accessible. Which is really weird because like I love the round-based stuff, but I'm concerned right now because there's no main quest. The main quest isn't going to be available until December 2nd, and we don't even know if we're getting fucking round-based ever again. There's something they're listening to the community for, but right now, this seems to be the way to play zombies, and without the main quest, I don't know if what's there right now is going to keep people going back, because it's essentially the same map, and you can't, like, open new areas and push forward and upgrade your character so you're more, it's just a really bizarre choice, and I don't really understand why they went away from the round-based stuff, but I do know they're looking at it. But it's interesting, but until the main quest hits where you can actually learn about what's going on with these characters and what the Nazis are doing, I don't know if it has the legs right now. Hopefully when the main quest drops and they'll add some more stuff to the game, the zombie storyline will become more appealing and there'll be more to do. So it's just a different approach to it. I played a little bit of the campaign. It's exciting as you would expect from a campaign, but I understand it's only like 5 or 6 hours, so shouldn't be a terribly long campaign. But, at the end of the day, I like the fact that Call of Duty continues to provide you with content. I mean, you can sit there and bitch about the game and it's basically the same thing every year, but I will never sit there and argue about the value of it. You're paying $60, you get a campaign, albeit a short one, you get a zombie mode that you can play cooperatively with friends, and you have a multiplayer suite that has 20 maps, a bunch of modes, and as always, an addictive progression system. So for $60, $70, you're getting a lot of stuff compared to other games at that price. Metroid Dread, or even Battlefield 2042, no campaign. But we do know the multiplayer is there, and the Hazard Zone thing could be pretty interesting. I want to check that out on Friday.
Sure.
But look, yes, it's Call of Duty. It's the same thing. But they do a great job at creating that value for you.
I feel like, and the only thing I'll really say to it is, I clown on it, but I'm always doing that anyways. But Black Ops 4 was really the first time I stepped back and said, you know what? For the price you're paying, you're getting a lot of content here. It wasn't a lot of, it was like different character story modes. You were getting a multiplayer and you're getting zombies and you got a battle royale.
Right.
That's a lot now.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You still got Warzone.
Now, is there a dialogue to be had out there maybe about paying $60, $70 for a game and having game passes that sure you can grind out if you want to, or you can pay separately and still coming in at 60? I think that's a fair conversation. I've seen some of that this week as well too on that. And I kind of agree with that to a degree. But again, at the same time, like, I still feel like, yes, you're getting a lot of content for $60. And of course, you got to look at the content. It's a multiplayer content. It's a different grind. It's not story-based. If you're looking for a story-based game, go play a story-based game, because there's people out here in the chat that I know that prefer the multiplayer game. So I get that, you get your value, and that's great. That's how that works. So, at the end of the day, for me, I'm not going to look at or touch it or even give two shits. I feel like I keep saying that they should have not come out with more games after Modern Warfare, because I felt like Modern Warfare, that last one that had come out, was a good game. They could have just kept building upon, make it a live service. Make it that live service. We kind of talked about that before. So, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole with that, but I mean, it's good. People are enjoying it. I feel like it's not a lot of buzz right now because I don't Normally, I hear more people talking about it and playing it. Maybe it's because I have no GameStop perspective at this point. But it is what it is. People are still enjoying it. I do hear the maps is, the amount of maps is what a lot of people.
20 maps, and they're all really well done. Tricky ass, do you get the other games, 4 games as well? It shows 4 games on the first screen. No, you don't get them. Basically, it just makes it easier for you to access them, because my understanding is the season pass that you get, the pass that's in there, you can carry it over and rank it up playing the other games. So if you want to play Modern Warfare, or if you want to play Warzone or Black Ops 4 or whatever it is, it'll count towards your progression on the season pass. That's the one thing I do like about what they do in this game is the season pass carries over to everything. So if you're playing zombies, it goes towards your season pass. If you're playing multiplayer, it goes towards your season pass. Weapons, everything that you use in whether zombies, unlocking the new attachments, all of that progression is tied to one thing. So it's no matter what mode you play, you're moving everything forward in terms of your progression.
Okay.
So they do some smart things in there, but at the end of the day, dude, it's Call of Duty. And much like Far Cry, what we talked about, that if it's not broke, they're not going to fix it. This thing sells like crazy, and yeah, it's got its detractors and people don't like it, but there are people that fucking play this game religiously. It's all they play. And those are the ones that they're catering to, and they do a very good job of that. The maps and the guns and the gameplay is there. You don't have to change much of it.
Right.
So, is what it is. Now, the other game, the other big title that you guys want to talk about, and I'm really excited to get your thoughts on this, is Jurassic World Evolution 2. Came out yesterday. I know you've spent some time with it. Josh, I know you spent an absurd amount of time with the first one, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what you're hoping to see they would improve on, and whether or not Tone can confirm those changes are
And
in
let's
there.
talk about, how did you first start playing that game? Did you just see it and download it and play it?
No, you talked about it,
I just want to point that out.
and then I lost some of my life due to it.
Yeah.
I woke up early this morning to play it, and I played it too long because I got too involved in it, and I was late waking up the kids and getting, they got to school on time, but it was just it's one of those games that sucks you in. You build and you grind, and the Raptors, they break out, and then it's like, oh man, it's just enough. There's just enough. How can I say it? Like difficulty with like the dinosaurs breaking out that you don't get sick of it and you keep going. Big gripe with it is you get to a new island, you build like a research facility.
And I'm sorry, you're talking about the first one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Continue.
This is my gripe with the first one, which I hope they
because it's free on Game Pass still right now, right?
Yes.
Free with Game Pass.
Yeah, which I hope they improve on in the new one. You get to a new island, you build your research center. You don't have the cash for it there, so you just go back to the other island and you research all the crap there. I get the idea of needing to be like smart with your money and like doing it right, but then like there's a way around it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But overall, I mean, I just love building the parks up.
Yeah.
The second island on at least the first one's a little difficult.
It gets really fucking micromanaging.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. But all of it I love, and I'm hoping for a better.
So, no, I mean, I know what you're saying, because like the first one, and that's how kind of that campaign works. Like, you get an island, you start here. They kind of give you an smaller version of that island. It's easy to kind of get going. You have to get it to 5 stars to move on to the next one, or whatever it is, 4 stars. You want to be, because you got to make it profitable. So just like think like SimCity or something like that, where you can navigate taxes and how much, like even 1% tax increase can generate X amount of revenue, things like that. So I could talk about playing with those kind of things in SimCity games, or City Skylines sees me all day. But Jurassic World has kind of some of those things as well too, because sometimes it depends on where you're putting your money into, especially when it comes to like, say, even a T-shirt selling shop, or what food are you selling at your concession stands? Are you selling the Dino Nuggets? Are you selling a hamburger, like a Brontosaurus burger? That shit all is micromanaged on how you're generating revenue, because it can make or break sometimes where you're doing everything as a whole if you're actually being profitable, which can, again, like if you're not making money, you can't upgrade this. I can't unlock this dinosaur. I can't work on this research for different genome to get a different version of this dinosaur. And like I'm telling you, like this is highly micromanaged. The game is fucking micromanaging, and I love that shit. Love that shit. I have only played about an hour and a half so far of the second version of this game that came out yesterday, And I can tell everybody right now, and this is my problem, these time vamp games, I call them, or I probably stole that from somewhere, but when I start playing them, it's bad news bears. You're waking up at 5 a.m. I'm not going to sleep. I'm like, well, I don't need to eat because I'm just going to keep playing, things like that. I had to set the control. I literally stopped myself last night. I got through the first campaign scenario last night, started the second one a little bit and played around and said, I'm going to set this controller down. I need to go to bed because if I don't tell myself no right now, I'm going to be fucked. Because these games will do, and it was already doing it. And listen, it's a lot to learn at first because there's a lot of controls, there's a lot of menus and things you need to do. But the nice thing about what these games do is it gives you some really, especially this one, like when it comes to like tranking the dinosaurs, like you go into first person view in a helicopter and you trank a dinosaur into the rifle now. I don't think you could do that in the first one.
No,
but you can
fly it. But,
right,
yeah.
you can fly it, you can drive the cars and things like that. It gives you all these fucking options. And this game already, I believe, now when I get to the first menu, I didn't check because all I saw was campaign. I just jumped right in.
Right, yeah.
There's like 2 different types of campaigns. There is, look like 4 modes. One of them was, I believe, already right away, I think, an unlockable sandbox mode. I should have probably confirmed that, but I was too excited about jumping into it because I knew I hadn't played the first Jurassic World in a while. Going to be, I need to learn those controls again, so that's what the campaigns do. There's small scenarios, you run through this, you learn the mechanics, cool, move on, let's get to another scenario, and that's kind of what they're doing, at least for the campaign, or that part of the campaign. So I can tell you already it's doing what it does. I mean, now you can get onto like this marketplace, and if you like, oh, I need some new scientists to help unlock things. They got different stats, like 3 or 4 different stats. Okay. Yeah, you can spend money on finding like I could spend like $16,000 on this cheap scientist, or spend $30,000 and have a guy with like better like proc or percentage on something like.
So even more micromanaging.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Y'all sound like some fucking nerds right now.
It's fucking gnarly.
You guys are talking about setting prices. I keep thinking about when Madden introduced owner mode. Ownership mode, you can go in there and I'd be like, I'm coaching the Lions. Like, all right, well, it's gonna be $9 beer night because our team sucks and everyone wants to get shit faced. $9 beers, $1 hot dogs, so everyone get drunk and eat.
But it's like it's that kind of shit. Like I like even in like old school some fighting games, you can set it up to like just watch or set up tournaments and things like that, or some of the wrestling games like that you could set up or do like a GM mode. And just like set your roster, set your storylines, and just kind of watch it. That shit is fucking great. Yeah. So like something like you're talking about, like a front manager mode and things like that.
Oh, dude, you could sit there and you could set the price of merch. So you could set the price of beer, hot dogs, popcorn, and I would just ramp the price up, especially when the team was shitty. I was like, man, I figured these people are all Detroit fans, and they're all mad. They're gonna want to get drunk, so I'm gonna jack the price of beer up because the team sucks, and they're gonna eat hot dogs. I was a sweet owner, man. My teams were terrible, but I always knew Lions fans were like, I'm going to buy season tickets no matter what. And they would all show up, and they would all get drunk, so I understood. That's why I should be an owner of the Lions. I understand the people of Michigan.
Yeah.
I know what kind of people we are.
Yeah.
But overall, you're digging it so far?
Yeah, only an hour and a half in, and as somebody who played a lot of the first one, and I do like to tell everybody that when I streamed my first stream ever, streaming in just the world back on Mixer, Jurassic World was the first game I streamed for 2 hours.
That's right.
So this game's got a lot of love with me. It's one of those games, man. You just get into them. You're.
Tricky says, aren't $9 beer in real all stadiums? It is now. In 2001, it wasn't $9, but I charged it. So I was like a trendsetter. I started the $9 beer thing. Lions fans are idiots.
They saw your gameplay and they're like,
man, this guy doesn't have shit for a team. They're terrible, but he's making money at the stands. He knows what the fuck he's doing. But no, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear you guys are enjoying it, and I'm sure you'll get some more time with it in this week.
Oh, Friday night's about to be fucking on.
Friday night.
Oh yeah, I'll be looking out. If anybody wants to hang out in Discord and chit chat and drink and just fuck about, I'll be playing this game, just chilling. So you holler.
Oh snap! Okay.
Just want to hang.
Last game I want to talk about briefly. I played. I've gotten about 4 hours in. Is Forza Horizon 5. Once again, man, Game Pass is just an incredible fucking value.
That game is fucking gorgeous.
Like, it is reviewed incredibly well. I played that shit last night, and to run this game on a 4K HDR display with performance mode, I don't even fuck around with quality mode. I'm a 60 frames guy. I gotta have that smooth, especially in something like a driving game. This game will melt your fucking face. It looks that good. I mean, Mexico is the setting. It's a beautiful area. There's multiple, and there's different variety of areas. This game just looks so fucking good. But as always, they continue to improve the gameplay itself. The driving mechanics are fucking awesome in this game. It really feels good to play. I got caught up playing late last night. I didn't go to bed till like 1:32, just going around knocking out all the different races in my area, trying to move the story forward.
Right.
This is just, like I said, the fact that games like this and hopefully Halo Infinite lives up to the hype, Game Pass is absolutely fucking stupid. You know, it's fucking stupid how much of a value it is. Jimmy said, okay, with Game Pass being so successful, what would make someone buy a PS5 over a new Xbox? I mean, exclusives. I mean, look, like don't get me wrong, like Game Pass is dope. It's great. You know, especially once we start to see more of these games from like Bethesda and some of these other studios they purchase, and they're all going to drop into Game Pass, it's going to be really difficult for people to make an argument that Game Pass and Xbox is a bad deal for a console. But you know, PlayStation on the same token, dude, their exclusives are still phenomenal. They still have some of the best exclusive games that you can't play on PC, not for 2 or 3 years down the line. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I was like, well, it's coming to PC. Dude, I don't want to fucking wait for Horizon Forbidden West to drop on PC in 2 years. I want to play that shit now. That's why I bought a PS5. That's why I buy an Xbox Series X, to play certain games on those consoles when they drop. I don't want to wait fucking 2 years. That whole argument is so weak. Oh, well, it's going to be on PC. Yeah, after it's been spoiled for me, and after I'm playing something else that's come out. I'm not fucking waiting 2 years to play a game. Shut the fuck up. That's over 700 days, dude. Are you fucking kidding me? That argument is so fucking weak. That shit's weak as hell. But I mean, look, Game Pass is a killer deal. If you go out and get an Xbox Series S, which is meh, you know, it's I would not buy an S at this. You can buy those things fucking anywhere right now.
Can you?
Oh my god, you go on any site, you can get an S anywhere, but I wouldn't buy that shit if you put a gun to my head. I want that X, baby. But if you get an X and Game Pass, you are set. You're set.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, PlayStation still has great exclusives. They still have a lot of great games coming to their system. You can't go wrong either way. But for value, and I mean, PlayStation really should come up with something for that. But Fanboy Face looks like he is holding in a fart. He probably is. He probably is. Actually, no, he probably let it out. He's nasty like that. But end of the day, Forza Horizon 5 is really, really good right now. I've really enjoyed what I've played. I'm going to probably get into it a little bit tonight once you guys leave.
Yeah, I got to download it. I just haven't.
It's really good. It's really fun to play. So definitely worth a look. If you have Game Pass, it's a fucking no-brainer. Download the game and just marvel at its beauty and enjoy the gameplay. It's fun to play. It's a great racing game. All right. Next beer. We're moving through. We have one more topic. We have 2 more beers. So I like how we're going to go beer here, topic, and another. Oh, boy.
M43, New England IPA.
Ooh, Indian Pale Ale. Okay.
Now, this is Michigan's bread and butter.
It is. When it comes to the IPAs, this is the bread and butter.
Oh, my.
Now, this brewery has I think we've had one on here, one or two on here. They have one of my other favorite IPAs that I actually do like outside of just saying, hey, it's an IPA I like. It's one of my favorite IPAs, which is the limited editions 420, the strawberry M43 version, right? Is that basically it?
Oh, yeah.
That's a great IPA. This is right outside of Weberville, between Weberville and Lansing. You can stop at this brewery and have yourself an IPA, because that's all I think they make now.
Williamston, Michigan.
Williamston, that's the word I said.
Oh, yeah, just give me the whole back.
Oh, look at him. Freak out over there.
God,
He's freaking out.
Hey,
Sour Patch Kids!
What's your favorite color, Sour Patch Kid?
The trick question, all of them. I mean, literally all of them.
Are we supposed to put like all the colors in our mouth?
I'm just doing yellow and green because that's my favorite
combo
to mix.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
No sugar-free jelly beans for this guy.
You made a shitty face before you even drank that beer.
I already took a sip of it, man. Jesus fucking hops.
Dude.
You know, when I first started drinking craft beer, back in like 2008, 2009, I was drinking 200 ales almost every night. I cannot find a palate for IPAs anymore. I have been really trying.
Fiber in the bottom of my glass.
It's like going to your ditch and just scooping the weeds out. Not even the good kind of weed.
You know what this tastes like? When you eat the...
Fuck. Hey!
When you eat the...
What's up, wifey?
Sour Patch Kids and drink this, it tastes like Ruby Red Squirt.
Oh. Dude.
Tastes like a Ruby Red drink.
Yep.
Let me a couple more of those. By that, I mean the rest.
Fucking hell, Christ.
Dude, I love Sour Patch Kids. I love M43.
Oh.
Yeah, we know. Sicko.
He's enjoying it. Why aren't you, sourpuss?
Have you tried this?
He's just a whiny bitch, dude. That's good, man.
Oh, no go?
Look at him.
Fuck no.
Damn, man.
God damn it.
Mm.
Doing well, thank you. It's nice to see you as well, too.
Gene's wife, what's up, girl?
We miss you guys. Feel like after Mixer kind of went apart, like everybody started getting busy, then pandemic working hours, like...
Thank you so much for that follow. Appreciate you, Jim.
Quick talk. What was your favorite? Like, do you have a list of how you feel about the beers pairings?
The peanut butter, the first was the peanut butter in the peanut butter cup and the
Sycamore, the special brownies.
That was
chocolate
good.
stout.
I think overall so far, the Kit Kat and the Pumpkin Slayer,
that was
baby,
solid.
baby boy.
Kit Kat Pumpkin Slayer was good, but the Snickers Porter one was tight.
I think the Snickers Porter one might be my go-to if I know this again.
I think, is there anything else that would work better with the pumpkin than I wanted the Kit Kat?
I don't know. That's worth exploring. I say we just get another pumpkin beer and a bunch of candy bars.
I'm not opposed to any of that.
Try it again.
Or just get a bunch of Sour Patch Kids and I just eat all that.
Yeah, the Sour Patch Kids are the only thing that saved me being able to drink this shit.
Shut up.
What a whiny little bitch. All right, let's move on to our final topic of the evening. Chucky episode 5. Actually, I was mistaken. We only have 8 episodes, not 10.
You can't count.
So we have 3 episodes after this. Chucky episode 5 last night. We finally, we've been waiting for Jennifer Tilly to show up. We've been waiting for Tiffany Valentine to make her appearance.
All my life I've been waiting.
And finally, she showed up last night with Nika. Brad Dourif's daughter, Fiona Dourif, playing Nika. And that whole scene with them was enjoyable.
Yeah.
They've continued their
great story
relationship that they started at the end of Cult of Chucky. And you guys and gals, the show continues to just get me excited, man. Chucky is on his rampage now. It's a now we kind of we didn't get the answers that we talked about last week because I was like, man, there were multiple Chuckies running around this hospital. At least now I don't know if it was just an editing mistake because we know that there is still only one Chucky. But in this episode, Chucky has managed to transfer his soul
once again
from the burnt up, nasty Chucky to Tommy. Good guy doll, Tommy. But we know it's Chucky. The parents are falling apart now. The parents are completely falling apart. The mom is a total. Lexi's mom is the mayor is moved into total bitch mode.
That's your favorite character.
That's my totally favorite character. She's turned into a bitch mode. Lexi's dad is turned into a complete idiot. Devin Sawa's Uncle Logan has turned into a fucking scumbag. Like the parents have gone from concerned citizens, concerned for their kids, to absolute fucking assholes. To it, these people are gonna get pieced out before the kids. Mayor's gonna die. Dad's gonna die. Uncle Logan's probably gonna die. Now, the one parent is what's the
cousin's mom?
The cousin's mom. Did not see that development
Random
coming.
as fuck.
Because it was alluded to that she had a secret in the first couple episodes. And we're thinking,
And we
who's
thought
she banging?
Right. Yeah.
She's banging. She's got a secret. And you're like, oh, fuck, man. She's banging somebody.
Good,
Something's going on. But, man, they came out of left field and fucking hit us hard last night what her secret was, and that is she has stage 4 cancer. And she's not telling her family because she doesn't want them to, like, worry about her. They don't want her to be sad. She doesn't want them to be sad. And all of that comes with that. So she's been shouldering that. And when they went through that scene, I was like, whoa! Mm-hmm. This is not what I was expecting in this series. I did not expect any kind of a scene like this because you just don't. That's not the type of depth that you get. But when that scene hit, I was like, holy shit, dude. That like really kind of sobered you up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Because everybody else is a fucking scumbag parent. And you're like, holy shit, this lady's actually not a cheating whore. She's got like a real life issue, and you're just like, oh, fuck, man. So it's really interesting how they kind of like threw that curveball in there. I thought that was really interesting. But back to Tiffany and Nika. We found out that they are in Hackensack. They are in town. Now, whether or not Chucky called them there or what they're doing there, I'm not sure yet.
Are we sure? Because I thought it was a flashback.
It said Hackensack present day.
Gotcha.
When it showed them they were at that hotel. So I was like, okay, they're here. Something must have brought them here. I'm assuming Chucky called them. We didn't get clarification on it. But let's talk a little bit about Fiona Dourif.
Yeah, pretty wild.
Her character is very complex. Her character, when she's not possessed by Chucky, is a paraplegic. She's actually paralyzed from the waist down. She can't walk. She can't do anything. But when the parts of Chucky that were put into her by Chucky himself, when that possession kicks in, she gets like full use of all of her.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. But she also turns into a fucking psychopath and like crazy ass. She's basically Charles Lee Ray. So there was a really cool scene with her and Tiffany. They're in Hackensack doing some wild shit in this hotel room. But then here's the thing, dude. Here's the thing, Blanco. Yeah. Now I guess she acts like him. As I'm watching this episode, we've been getting, flashbacks to Charles Lee Ray in his younger years when he's a kid. And then finally last night, we get 80s Charles Lee Ray. And I'm watching him like, oh, cool, it's Charles Lee Ray at a club. And as I'm watching, I'm like, man, they got a pretty good look-alike playing Charles Lee Ray. I'm like, that guy looks like a young Brad Dourif. I'm like, that's pretty impressive. And then I figured it was probably just a look-alike because when he starts talking, it's Brad Dourif's voice. Mm-hmm. A voiceover for the character. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. They got somebody that looks like Brad Dourif, and he's doing the voice. Great. Watching the show, and as I'm watching, I'm like, boy, this guy's got the mannerisms down and everything. You feel like you're watching Brad Dourif in 1988's Child's Play. Everything is accurate. And they go through these scenes, and you find out how he meets Tiffany for the first time, and that was a scene I didn't expect. I mean, that kind of like went crazy, but that's what you would expect from these characters. Mm-hmm. So you have this scene from Charles Lee Ray when he's younger, and then you see how Nika and Tiffany are still together after the events of Cult of Chucky. But here's the wild part, you guys. As after the show's over, they do this awesome like documentary after every show where they interview the cast. And they talk about each specific episode. Come to find out, that is Fiona Dourif in makeup playing Charles Lee Ray in the 80s. And I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Fucking wild.
That realization was pretty fucking nuts.
Dude, that blew my mind because not only was she really good as Nika going back and forth between possessed Nika and, unpossessed Nika who's sympathetic and understanding and like doesn't want to kill anybody. So you have this back and forth. I'm like, oh, she's really good there. But then she's playing Charles Lee Ray and she fucking nails it.
Yeah.
The creepy, just like creepy demeanor that Charles Lee Ray had. He's a fucking creep. And she nails it. And I was just like, holy shit, dude, blew my mind that she was playing her dad's character.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a wild episode. The show is leaning more into that campiness, especially what we saw in like Cult of Chucky and some of the later Child's Play movies. They're leaning more into the camp. And I bet Brad Dourif had a huge proud dad moment. Oh, guaranteed, man. And it's funny, man, like when in the interview, he was talking to his daughter, and she was like, hey, I need pointers how to play Charles Lee Ray. And he's like, I'm 70 years old. I can't show you how to play Charles Lee Ray. He's like, go watch the movie, watch what I did, and do your own version of me. And I thought that was really cool. Like but he's so proud of it's so cool for him to see his daughter playing that character that he played.
Fucking crazy.
It was wild, man. Like, it was really wild when I learned that. I was like, that's crazy. But overall, the show continues to press forward. We had a really good scene with Jake and Devin. They finally had their first kiss. They've been able to embrace each other. And, you know, for the longest time, they were kind of hiding it, and they weren't sure how to act on their emotions and how to show it. And once they thought they got rid of Chucky, it was like a moment of celebration, and they came together, and they had their first kiss. But little did they know, Chucky's still alive and well. And another epic ending to this show where the mayor's holding a press conference at the gymnasium or the auditorium at the school. The families are all distraught because she's like playing it off like, oh, everything's fine. There's murders going on, but don't worry. I want you to feel safe. And people are pissed at her. And she wants to bring out the principal to address some stuff. And as she calls out the principal, she doesn't appear. And next thing you know, a head comes rolling out on stage. It falls on its side, and even the eyes blink a couple times. And as they open Chucky opens the curtain. There's the principal's body sitting in the chair giving 2 thumbs up with no fucking head. And you're just like,
what
Chucky, yeah, he has no boundaries. He's going to be a sick, twisted fuck, and that's what I want out of Chucky. So the show continues to be interesting going forward, but now that we have Tiffany and Nika on scene, we know that their campy side story and whatnot is going to become a focal point in the show. We still know that Andy is going to appear at some point, likely the next episode, based on what we saw in the trailers. It looks like Andy's going to make an appearance. So now he's going to come in, try to help the kids. We know Nika and Tiffany are going to be siding with Chucky. The showdown is about to begin. I'm expecting a lot of camp. I'm expecting a lot of violence going forward. A lot of people are going to get their comeuppance. A lot of the parents are going to fucking die. I'm still not sure how I feel about Lexi. She continues to try to work with Devin and Jake and trying to make that rebound and revive her character arc. But I mean, where are you at, Tone? Do you still want to see Lexi get hers? Or do you feel like she's redeeming herself?
I think that's the point of the character, is to redeem herself.
You think she's on that redemption arc? Or do you think Don Mancini just goes back to the old Chucky way and says, nah, y'all are fucked?
I mean, I'd prefer that, honestly. But no, the show again, I continue to say, is way better than it should be.
Yep.
And it's perfect because this is how it should be. This is a good way to do something like this, is again, like Cobra Kai, like everything else that's doing, hey, let's revisit this, but let's do a series for it. Let's pull it out. Let's develop some story, get rid of some of the camp. Like, clearly this requires camp because it's a fucking doll killing people.
Right, yeah, it's child's play.
But it's able to build good story and good characters, and man,
we're heading towards a wild conclusion, you guys. That's basically the way it is. They've done a great job building up the characters. They built up some really good, interesting story arcs. Be curious to see what happens to the parents. Be curious to see what happens to Lexi, how Jake and Devin are going to handle the situation. Can the town of Hackensack survive the rage of Chucky?
We'll see.
And Nika and Tiffany?
It's coming.
It's going to be really close. It'll be interesting to see. Now, before we wrap things up, Josh, you have one more beer.
Don't you?
No.
Oh, was that all of them?
That was it.
I'm fucking drunk.
Well, this guy's a lush.
I am a lush. I'm feeling pretty good. He's checking. Like, did we use them all?
Yeah, they're all gone.
Okay, good. All right, that means I can just drink Vizzies when I play Forza tonight. Rad, dude. Awesome.
This guy's got a problem.
Couple things you want to talk about really quick before we give this guy the stage. 2 things. Movies we're watching this weekend. Red Notice.
Definitely Red Notice, because that marketing ain't stopping.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Red Notice starring Ryan Reynolds, Gal Gadot, and The Rock.
To be more respectful, Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Yeah. We'll be watching that, as well as No Time to Die. Available now for rental. So I will be picking up No Time to Die. We'll talk about James Bond next Tuesday as well.
Rumored on that trailer. We'll see Friday.
We have rumors that the Kenobi trailer might be dropping on Friday, so you damn well know we'll be talking about that.
Hello there.
And Jimmy Z, yes, Wheel of Time next Friday. A lot of good shit. Actually, next Thursday. Do we get tickets? Ghostbusters.
Shit. Oh, shit.
Yeah, so shit.
Oh, I can order those tomorrow.
We're going to get tickets for Ghostbusters, and I think we'll probably do instant reaction. I feel like that's one we can talk about.
And then I'm going to take my family back on Saturday.
That's what I told Melissa. I was like, well, the boys are going to watch it, so I got to go back to the theater and see it on the weekend. But we are going to talk about Ghostbusters next week as well. But 2 movies this week for sure. No Time to Die and Red Notice, whatever else pops up. Obviously, Chucky as well. But Josh, first of all, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me. This has been great.
Being here. We appreciate you being here. We're a big fan of your stuff. We appreciate your support and being here every week for the show. Tell everybody, where the fuck can we find you, man? Everywhere.
You got their link out there? His link out there?
I'm working on it.
First and foremost, sub to my YouTube channel, Half-Ass Beer Review.
Yes.
Give me some likes, give me some comments, share my content. I'm all about that. I'm on Instagram, Half-Ass Beer Review, Twitter, HABR Josh, TikTok, HABR Josh, and Facebook, but they censored me with saying ass, so it's just Half AZ
Facebook
Beer Review.
Sucks.
And I don't use the.
I'm live and you can hear me.
If you don't follow me on Facebook, I won't be upset. But yeah, just
It really didn't.
Show some
you're
love.
AZZ on there, right? Is that what
just
it is?
AZ. Just AZ.
Man, what the fuck?
Havez.
Zuck. He's something else.
Zuck is he's a whiny bitch.
Pretty
But
much.
how often do you do your videos? Probably a couple a week?
3 times a week.
3 times.
Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Sometimes it gets a little wacky. Life gets a little wacky, and it goes less. But 3 times a week, pretty consistently.
What you got any ideas what you're gonna be checking out next week? What's your next couple of drinks?
What did I do today? I just dropped one today. It's Puff Tart from the Project Brewing out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Another one that 7D hit me up with. It has it's a lot like a fruited sour, like thick, just like those 450 North Brewing Company ones that I've been doing. And then Friday I have another one. Oh, the blue ice cream one from Kings Island.
Let's
Ooh,
you want to watch that one time?
Or not?
Yeah, maybe not. I don't, feelings might be hurt on that one.
damn.
But yeah, it's a good time, and if you don't like it, tell me you don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, give him that. He's just like every other content creator. You know, feedback is the only way that he can continue to make stuff that y'all want to see. I think he does great work. Like I said, I love the authenticity of it. He's genuine with his reactions to what he's drinking. He's thorough with his explanations of why he likes it. His rating system is very clear. It's definitely worth a watch, you guys, especially if you're a fan of beer and craft beers and different types of beers that might go under the radar and things that you might miss. There's some really good gems. Like what's some of the ones that you're like that really blew your mind that you weren't expecting to be that good? Like what's one of your all-time faves? Like a couple of your all-time faves.
Oh man, I don't know. I've done so many. There's almost 200 now that I've been doing since I did it. But that strawberry M43 really stands out. The Dunkel pumpkin one that I did stands out.
That Lacto Cooler was one of my faves.
Oh yeah, cherry. Thank you so much for that Lacto Cooler.
Lacto Cooler,
yeah,
yo.
That was really good. It's I don't know. I'd have to go back and really check it out because they all kind of bleed together. But I don't hate beer, right?
Right.
Even if it's pretty bad, I usually drink it. There's been a few instances.
What about natural ice?
I mean, natural ice. You're going for quantity, so I'm in a different mindset.
Okay.
When I'm drinking natural ice.
Yeah.
But,
Okay. All right.
I'd go for a Mickey's or a PBR before I'd go for natural ice. So.
MGD right now is my thing for domestic.
Yeah, just because you mix it up between that and Miller Lite. You bounce back and forth between
Fuck that
those.
Miller Lite shit.
And you love it. Don't act like you don't like it.
Also, hey, don't be afraid to put a little Bloody Mary mix in your beer.
Dude, I've actually had a couple people tell me about that. I've had a couple people tell me I'm putting tomato juice or whatever in their beer.
Yeah.
And I'm always just like, that
You guys
sounds
are fucking
fucking
psychotic.
terrible.
Like, it's fucking psychotic.
It's the second time you've called me psychotic tonight.
Like, for fuck's sake, tomato juice in your fucking beer.
Well, have you tried
Alcohol.
it? Have you tried it?
I've had a fucking Bloody Mary, and that needs to go
Have you
against the wall.
tried beer?
Absolutely
Have you tried
not.
it in your beer?
Have you tried a Clamato?
Are you the guy that?
Have you tried a Clamato?
He's the guy.
Are you the guy? Because have you tried a Clamato?
What is that?
Exactly. Yeah. Fuck tomato juice in your beers. Gross. It's psychotic. Literally psychotic.
That's how I feel about crinkle cut fries at Arby's.
That's true. You were pretty good.
That's right. You guys are going on and on about. Did I hear somebody say Rally's fries are good?
Rally's fries are better than most places.
They're actually terrible, but
nope,
congratulations on having a shitty
only
opinion.
person that would think that. Everybody out there sound off about how good Rally's fries are. Go ahead.
Rally's
Checkers,
fucking
Rally's
sucks,
fries
dude.
are top
Last
tier.
time I went to Rally's, I fucking threw up. Fuck Rally's and fuck their fries and fuck everything else
You should have been
about
licking
them.
their dumpster. You should have actually ordered something through the window.
White Castle's better than fucking Rally's.
That's
So,
the
there you
dumbest
go.
thing you may.
Hey, speaking of Arby's, have you tried their boneless wings yet? I know they're pushing the marketing on that big time.
They're good. They're similar to really anyone else we expect. I mean, I think
How's the sauce? I know.
Well,
I don't.
so you ever had the buffalo slider there?
Right. Yeah. I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
It's the other one. Is it the hot honey?
I just had the buffalo because I love buffalo.
Sure.
And the chicken is very consistent with their chicken sliders. It's basically like them cut in half, but
Right.
not cut in half. So I mean, it's still quality chicken because Arby's is quality compared to everybody else.
The one thing that pisses me off about Arby's though, their one chicken sandwich, their chicken bacon ranch sandwich, you order it and it's not like a nice big cut of chicken. It's two sliced tenders, and I'm just like, okay, that's fucking bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
When I got that, I was like, okay, this is your worst sandwich. I walked away when I ate that thing. I was like, because I remember I bit into it and like it fell apart. And I was like, what the fuck? This is like a premium chicken sandwich on their menu, and it's two chicken tenders on it. I'm like, oh, that's fucking weak, dude.
I get a lot of Reubens actually at Arby's.
I love their gyros are actually really fucking good.
French dip is the go-to.
The French dip is good.
French
Not
dip,
the crinkle cut.
French dip, and then you get mozzarella sticks and jalapeno poppers, and you put them on that bitch.
Bronco berry
on it.
Oh yeah, and then you dip them in the au jus.
Mm.
Oh, and then you drink the au jus.
You drink it, dude. We were talking about that. Like when you get a French dip and the sandwich is gone, but you got some au jus. I don't care if you don't have fucking fries. That au jus is not going to waste. I will tip the cup. My wife will be like, "You're gonna die of cholesterol." I'll be like, "I know, but I can't waste this."
What about Bronco berry sauce? Anybody get down?
I like Bronco berry
I
sauce.
Get down on that. Can we do a stream where we just get a bunch of fast food?
Yeah,
dude, I would love to do a fucking stream where we get like just a bunch of like go to all the joints nearby and go get the limited timed items, whatever their highlight item is.
Does anybody out there really want to watch us chubbies just sit around and eat food?
I don't give a fuck what they think or say. Yes. I mean, see, I knew Blanco was a yes. He wants to see one of us drop dead live, but I am totally on board about seriously going out one night and just grabbing like the limited time items at each place, whatever's like the hot thing that they're doing, just piles of it, and just mash it and rate it.
What we should do is go to a restaurant and then Frankenstein stuff that we each have to try.
Ooh, I do like that too.
That's bold.
Just saying.
He doesn't get it. You gotta explain it to him.
No, I get it. I get it.
We could Frankenstein some tomato juice in my beer.
What's wrong with that? It's good.
Jesus
Just joking. I've never tried. I just wanted to be a fucking prick. You should do pizza, dude. I would do all sorts of food, Tricky, honestly. I mean, I think it'd be cool to do a show where, like, hey, let's focus on, like, have y'all tell us, like, what's a good pizza to order around? What's a good pie other than fucking Little Caesars that Tone loves? What is a good pie to get around Saginaw? Bring it in, mash on it while we're doing a show. Talk about what's going on. Dude, if you guys want us to introduce food to the show, I'm the last person that's going to say no. I'm all about pigging out live. I don't give a shit. That could be a lot of fun. All right. That is going to do it for this week's show. Once again, big shout out to our boy Josh from the Half-Ass Beer Review. Make sure you check out his videos on YouTube. Follow him on all social media. He's fucking awesome, you guys. He will never steer you in the wrong direction when it comes to your beer. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. But he loves it no matter what. Mm-hmm. It's like stepkids, you know. It doesn't matter. He loves them no matter what. Right?
Okay, that's uncomfortable.
Sure is, but that's how I always thought my stepdad treated me. You know, he was like, you're a scumbag.
We clearly were on different ends of the spectrum.
What? Anyways, for Fanboytone, Josh for Half-Ass Beer Review, I'm the Dude79. We'll see you next Wednesday night right here. Oh, well, on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook.
There you go.
Have a great weekend. Be safe. We'll see you then. Good night, everybody.
Don't put tomato juice in your beer. It's psychotic.
Try it. Try it.